We are live. Welcome to the Soscast. We're getting lit over here. I'm telling you, people are getting loose over here right now. Finding a lot of things. Welcome to the Soscast. This is where finance meets romance. I almost said romance meets finance. Natalia says, no. You got to go money first. Then you go sex. Money, sex, finance, romance. This is where money and relationships meet. Episode 51. My name is Adam Sosnick, and we're all here for you. Gentlemen, we are here for you. We want to see male improvement, male self-improvement, whether that's financially, whether that's physically, whether that's sexually, whether that's anything on the planet that a male can improve upon. That's what we're here. But specifically, male self-improvement financially in the sexual marketplace. We just want to see you win in life. One of the things we always say here on the Soscast is we want to see you get laid, we want to see you get paid, and do it your way. Thank you, Natalia, right there. Yes. And it's only here on Tainment, the #1 channel on the planet for entrepreneurs. So before I introduce my stellar panel, Natalia, how you feeling? What's going on? What do the people need to know?
Super
the
excited
one lady
today.
over here.
Yes, I'm the one lady in here. I'm super excited. We've got a sick lineup. I just want to say, make sure you guys get your questions ready. Make sure you guys first start and like the video. We have 70 people watching so far, so I should expect 115 watching. That jumped real
we're
quick.
going to get up to 1,000, no problem.
So
people,
let's
get
make
on the ball. Get on the ball.
Let's make sure we like the video, comment, give us some good questions, because we have a very interesting lineup, I like to say. So let's go.
Thank you, Natalia, for that lovely rundown of what the people can expect today. Speaking of what to expect today, let's get to know our panel. This is a men's panel. Usually we've got, I don't know if we've ever had more than 2 men on the panel. It's usually 2 or 3 women and maybe a lucky man. But I said, all right, we got this guy. We got this guy. Let's bring the best of what they do onto the panel. So let's just start with my left and go around the horn. Yeah. So what do I call you? Do I call you Trey? Do I call you the poor man?
Yeah. You can just call me Trey.
Like, I'm all about saving money. I'm all about people being financially independent. I'm just going to be like, look at this poor mother right here.
No, but that's what you got to act like you poor, though.
Gotcha.
So no matter how many views, no matter how much revenue I get, poor man.
So Trey, ex-rugby player, and you're a male self-improvement coach? How would you describe yourself?
On the channel, I'm a YouTuber. I do say that I'm a YouTuber. I'm
of course.
fair.
Over 500,000 subscribers. I don't want to do you short. How many now?
Well, 633,000.
Who's counting though?
Right? Yeah,
exactly.
Who's counting? Nobody, who's caring? But on the channel, I talk about feminism. I talk about the death of the American family, and I'm a men's rights advocate. So pretty much by 2022 standards, a professional misogynist. I guess that's
just advocating for men's rights puts you in the misogynist category.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, welcome, bro. I know you did a show with Jedediah earlier. How'd that go?
That was great.
Yes.
Where did you guys butt heads on?
We really, in all honesty, we didn't butt heads until the end.
Okay.
We talked about like literally the last 10 minutes. We talked about who should have the final decision in a marriage. Yeah. So you already know. But outside of that, outside of that though, we agree to pretty much anything.
Awesome.
And it makes it a little bit harder sometimes because when y'all agree on everything, there's not that kind of combativeness aspect of the podcast, but it was still fun.
So you're saying you want to cause drama around here and fight a little bit because it'll get more views. Got it. All right, well, welcome, bro. StirlingCooper in the house. If you're familiar with him, then you're probably watching some stuff on YouTube or on the internet that maybe you don't want your parents knowing that you're watching.
Clear that browser history.
Clear that browser history, exactly. StirlingCooper, award-winning adult film star, and also a male sex coach.
Yeah, and used to be a high-class male companion as well.
I didn't. That was not on the bio. A high-class male companion. Okay, gotcha. How'd you get into that?
Yeah.
Dude, this is a long story. You don't just kind of like fumble your way into that. It was very deliberate, very planned out. I'm a pervert at heart, and I'm like, how can I get paid for this? And you were saying before, right? Like finances come first, and then the sex. For me, it was the other way around.
Wow,
the sex came first, then the money.
So
came.
what we say is around here on the Soscast, this is where finance meets romance. You're like, romance first, then the finance.
Flip that shit around.
Gotcha.
But these days I take my vast amount of experience having sex under like high pressure situations, shall we say, to teach guys how to overcome the most frustrating bedroom performance issues they have.
Awesome. So we're going to cover some of that today.
How to use that tool properly.
Use that tool properly. And now we got my guy Dee-1 in the house.
Yes, sir.
He has never watched anything that Sterling has done.
Never.
For sure.
Never.
Rapper.
Yeah.
Former baller.
For sure.
Okay, you were also the high school. What were you in high school? You were the
homecoming king.
Homecoming king. Yeah. Like I wasn't the homecoming king. I forgot what that even term was.
All right.
Just all around solid dude.
Yeah.
Okay, and you talk about. I know this for a fact. I don't even look at the card. You talk about being real, being righteous, and being relevant, and you're doing all three of those things.
3 is up.
Shout out to Slingshot David right there,
my man.
So, and also, you're the first. Correct me if I'm wrong. First rapper to be appointed by the governor of Louisiana. What was that story?
For sure. So I recently got appointed by the governor of my state, Louisiana, to the Louisiana Council for the Success of Black Men and Boys. So that made me the first rapper in Louisiana history to ever become an appointee of the governor.
Wow.
So, yeah, so I'm in some rooms, I'm around some people, I'm present for some conversations and some policy changes that other rappers have not been privy to prior to me, so I'm thankful.
And then the Harvard thing is not a play on words. You're actually getting enrolled into Harvard for what type of program?
Yes, sir. So I'm doing a fellowship at Harvard University. I start next week.
Wow.
A lot of people are like, congrats, you're going to be a student at Harvard. I'm like, no, it's a difference. I'm a fellow. A fellow is different from being a student. When you're a student, you pay to go there.
Yes.
When you're a fellow, you get paid to go there.
What a nice young fellow we got in the house
so
right
I'll be
there.
doing it's called the Nasir Jones Hip Hop Fellowship. So Nas, my favorite rapper, has a fellowship named after him.
Really?
And I was granted that fellowship.
So Nas has a fellowship with Harvard? How did that all kind of work out?
Yeah, I think Harvard recognized a while ago that Nas has made contributions to the culture of hip-hop 100%. That are like unprecedented, compared to a lot of other rappers. So hip-hop being such a new genre of music, it's becoming a lot more ingrained in college campuses, and there are courses on hip-hop now and the impact that it's having on the community. So they named this fellowship after Nas. I used to be a teacher, so for me, academics and hip-hop, that's been my niche all along, because I was a teacher. I was Mr. Augustine before I was Dee-1.
Wow.
You know what I mean? I quit teaching to become a rapper. So now I get to merge both of them, the background in academics, the background in hip-hop. And I'm going to be on Harvard's campus, man, recording the albums and podcasting and doing mixtapes and doing research during the day. It's about to be lit.
So if you're in Cambridge, Massachusetts, we're 1 week away from D1 being there.
I'm about to take over, bro.
So that's sick. So for the people watching, I know a lot of men watch our show and watch our channel. We have a very diverse panel. Okay, men's right activist, former athlete. I want to say that you were a rugby player, correct?
Yep.
You do a different type of athleticism. you know, a lot of stretching, a lot of hydrating that needs to get done in your line of work, Sterling. And again, award winning. Okay, and then rapper and new fellowship at Harvard. So there's a very diverse panel here, and we're all here to help you. I know for a fact you're going to take something away from this episode from one of these three gentlemen, if not me as well. And at the end of the episode, I'd like to hear from you guys out there in your comments, what translated the most to you? What resonated the most to you? Was it something, that Trey said? Was it something that Sterling said? Was something that some knowledge that Dee-1 dropped? Let us know, because we make these shows for you, okay? With that being said, this is where money and relationships meet. This is where finance meets romance. So let's start with just the basics so we understand who you guys are. Let's understand your relationship status and how you guys each make money these days. So let's start with you, Dee-1. Relationship status and how you make your money today.
Relationship status, not in a relationship, not married, want to be, you know what I mean? Looking forward to that. How I make my money. Go ahead, what were you about to say?
No, I was just going to say, with all the concerts that you're doing and all the panties getting thrown your way while you're on stage, you got to have a lineup of ladies that want to be the next D2 or Mrs. D1.
I've had about 500 women tell me that God has told them that they're my wife and that I'm their husband.
Wow.
I've had about 500 women in real life come up to me at concerts or on social media and tell me that God told them that I'm their husband and that they're my wife. So God apparently lied to 500 women, because that.
Are you calling God a liar?
No, that's the thing, bro. Like, I'm calling them liars, you know, and they lying on God, man.
So they say, hey, listen, I just got to tell you, D1, I got a huge crush on you. God told me that I'm destined to be your wife.
That's exactly.
And you're like, okay, I've heard that story before. This is
Yeah, be like, hey, let me introduce you to Brittany, because Brittany told me the same thing last week. Come here. Yeah, how about y'all talk? And
I bet all 500 of them are thinking they're so unique and individual.
Yeah.
Like I bet he's never had a girl say this to him.
Right?
Yeah.
Wow.
There's 400 more.
Yeah, bro. It's crazy. So
But you want to get married though?
Definitely want to get married, bro. I come from a 2-parent household. That's rare in the black community, but I'm super blessed that my parents been married over 40 years at this point. Yeah. My grandparents were married for 66 years before my grandma passed away recently. So I want that. I do. And it's hard because I live a different lifestyle than anybody in my family. I come from a family of blue collar workers. You know what I mean? They got married real young. My grandpa was fresh out the army. He was a plasterer, building houses, and met my grandmother. She was 18. He was 23. Bam, they got married. After 3 months of knowing each other, they got married. My pops, he was 21 years old. My mom was 18. They met each other, fell in love. Bam, next thing you know, they get married. But they've had the same careers their whole life. It's been very much just a traditional lifestyle. Me, here I come, entrepreneur. You ask, how do I get paid?
Yes.
Man, I get paid from royalties from my music. You know what I mean? So everyone who's streaming Dee-1's music, I get paid royalties every month from that. I get paid from speaking engagements, being a keynote speaker all across the globe. I get paid from concerts. I'll be flying to Oakland tomorrow morning to do a concert. You know what I mean? I just left Dallas doing a speaking engagement. I get paid like that. I get paid from brand endorsements and partnerships. Of course, I'm an investor on the side. So, you got real estate investments, you got stock investments and whatnot. So I do all these things, but along with this comes like a different lifestyle than anybody in my family has ever lived.
Of course.
And along with this lifestyle comes a lot less stability and a lot more options in terms of who to be with. A lot less stability because I'm not seeing the same environment every day. I'm seeing what Miami has to offer today. I'm seeing what Oakland has to offer tomorrow.
Of course.
I saw what Dallas has to offer yesterday. You know what I mean? And it makes me very ambitious to where it's not just about women that these cities have to offer. It's about the fact that my engine is always running with ideas and with wanting to get to that next level and being like, yo, I got a network and a family down here in Miami, but I got people out there in Dallas and I just want to connect the dots. That type of stuff is amazing. So to get with someone who just comes to the table like, yeah, I got a pretty face, a big booty, and some nice breasts, you know what I mean? That's not enough for me.
You're going to need more than that.
That's not enough for me, bro.
Okay.
And where I come from, and unfortunately this generation that I was birthed into, a lot of women feel like that right there, automatically reserves them a high quality man. You know what I mean? Or it qualifies them for just getting a dude that's just got it.
Can I tell you what I'm going to love about this episode? Is because I don't want to let the cat out the bag, but you said you had no clue what the red pill community was. You've never even heard that terminology.
Nah, never heard
Okay,
it.
well, you're about to learn today. You're going to learn today.
You're going to learn today.
But you sound pretty red pill based on that comment right there.
Most men that get a lot of women tend to be red pill, and
there it is,
because
right
they
there.
have more interaction.
Okay, so we're gonna inform him in a second.
All right.
Before we do, you said a girl's gonna have more than a pretty face, a fat ass, and some titties to get with D1.
Yeah.
StirlingCooper in the house. Let's talk about that a little bit. Break down your relationship status and how you're making your money, and believe me, expand upon that a little bit if you will.
Okay, well, I'm not going to go into super specific detail with the relationship stuff, but let's just say I'm in multiple relationships right now.
Okay. Multiple relationships.
That might be news for any of those girls who are listening.
Yikes.
You just dropped a bomb on them.
Short clip right now.
There's some ladies out there that
Look. In my fairness, I don't lie to them. I tell them I'm not exclusive to them.
Straight up.
They know that. They're exclusive. They're exclusive to me.
Yes.
Right? They're my girl.
They know that?
Yeah, they know that. Yeah, they accept that deal when they met me the first time. So they're my girls.
You get a little money, you get some options.
They don't see anybody else. They're mine. I'm thinking about starting a family with a couple of them in the next year.
With a couple of them?
In the next year, yeah.
Separate families or all together?
Separate at the moment.
Okay.
My grand plan, if I'm going to go into detail, my grand plan is to move all of my families together in one big property and have
sister wives.
Bingo, sister wives. That's the correct term.
Are we
going
to see you on TV in a different way?
I don't know, maybe.
Sister wives, okay.
Yeah. That's the current situation. And they're basically in different countries all around the world.
Gotcha.
Right now.
So how many in South Florida?
In South Florida, there's no wives here.
No wives here.
There's no wives in
No
Florida.
wifey potential down here.
Not in Miami, man.
Straight up, huh?
You ain't finding a wife in Miami.
Wow.
That's my
This is
personal
my
opinion.
problem. I've lived here my entire life, 41 years now.
I tell you, like, perfect example, man. I've lived in Miami now for about a year and a half.
Yep.
Like, I go to Europe for like 2 weeks. I have a girlfriend, and she's sticking around for like a year without me even seeing her.
Why do you think that though? Why? Why do you think?
Why do I think which part?
Like, why do you think when you go out there you can find a girlfriend like that and out here's?
I think in Eastern Europe the culture is very, very different.
Okay.
In Eastern Europe, for example, a girl is looking for a husband. She's looking to commit to somebody, and they're pretty based out there. Like a Romanian girl, she knows that if a dude's worth his salt, if a guy's making some decent money, he's probably going to be screwing around a bit.
Yeah.
Behind her back.
That comes with the territory.
It comes with the territory. Of
So
like,
it's
of,
more
of-
expected out there.
Yeah, like
Okay.
they used to like mafia bosses and stuff like that. So it's like, okay, a guy comes around, he's got a bit of money. All right, as long as he takes care of me, I don't care that he's seeing some hoe on the side. They don't, and they literally use those words.
As long as she's the main one.
Yeah, as long as she's the queen. She's
Interesting.
happy.
Okay,
So, out of your girls, do they all think they're the main?
Let's just leave that. Timing.
Natalia, you're gonna get Sterling
I'm
in
sorry,
trouble.
I
What are you
told you
doing?
it was gonna be a good
What are you
show.
doing?
And
Sorry,
then, Sterling, career-wise, where are you at right now financially? What are you focusing on? How are you making your money?
So nowadays, most of my money is made through my info products, you could say. So the advice I give out for free on YouTube and stuff, I also have a bunch of products I sell that help guys overcome all the different problems they face in the bedroom, like performance anxiety, premature ejaculation, teaching them how to lay pipe properly, teaching them how to get their girl off, how to make them squirt, how to make them orgasm, all this sort of stuff. Yeah, that's my primary income stream right now. I also dabble in crypto. I also run OnlyFans accounts for girls. So that's another stream of income I have.
For women.
Yeah, I run their accounts for them.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's a few different sources right now.
Respect. We're gonna touch more on all that for sure. D1's like, what's just happening right now?
No, okay.
Start.
You know what's funny, dude? Like listening to your story a second ago, I'm like, damn, me and him have so much in common. Like, 2-parent household.
Yep.
Right?
Okay.
Married their entire life until my mother passed away, unfortunately, but still 35 years
Sorry,
married,
brother.
right? What you called like, you guys would call like a valedictorian.
Yep.
Yeah, that was me.
That was you?
Yeah, double degree in chemistry, university degree.
Yep.
Like,
Damn,
I'm like,
bro.
damn, like we got such similar backgrounds, but we've both gone like,
We were like separated at birth. You know what I mean? Like we were like, it's like, yeah, we had the same upbringing, but then I took this route,
Yeah.
and you took
well,
this route.
but we didn't. Neither of us took like the path that was kind of laid out for us.
Neither one.
Right?
Neither one.
Which is interesting.
Yeah.
We're gonna
And
have to
D1 said that he's never watched porn in his life.
I've never watched porn in my life, bro.
Good man.
Crazy.
I preach. This is a channel about self-improvement. I
Yes.
tell guys don't watch porn.
Straight up.
I tell them not to watch it.
So
why
what
do you
make
tell
it
them
for?
that?
Because the kind of guys
Yes.
who are gonna you can't help everybody.
Yes.
Right, the kind of guy who wants to be helped is going to seek out my YouTube content. He's going to come to me for advice. He's going to come to me to help with this. You know, I'm ejaculating too quickly. I can't get my dick hard. Blah blah blah. He's going to come to me and actually take my advice and get some help. And then there's basically every other dude on the planet who is too lazy. They ain't putting any effort in. They don't want to be helped. Okay, watch my porn. I'll make money off that too. Like, there's no
Does
skin
it
off
come
my
down
back.
to the 80-20 rule? You know that
Very much.
20% of the people are doing 80% of the business, 20% of the rappers are actually finding success, 20% of the YouTubers are finding success, whereas the other 80% are just all talk.
Yeah.
Is that kind of what you're finding?
Basically, yeah.
I
Wow.
have a question though. Do you think, because you preach like not for people to watch it, how do you feel knowing that like I'm not trying to make you feel bad. How do you feel like you're like part of like funding or like giving people access to watch it when you're
basically saying you're talking out of both sides of your mouth. Like, you make money on it, that's your career, but you're also advocating
I
not.
guess
Is that what
so.
you're asking?
Yeah, but not in a rude
Okay.
way, if that makes sense.
It was
No, she's being rude. She's
I'm
being
trying
rude.
to
I
be
can tell.
like honest
She's
though,
rude.
because that is a question. Like, you know, you say you don't watch it, but then you sell it.
So I'm not putting a gun to anybody's head
Okay,
and making them watch my porn.
gotcha.
Same way, like, I could say, like, I smoke cigars, right? I know cigar smoke is not healthy for me, right? There's the potential for, like, tongue and mouth cancer. I still enjoy a cigar. And I'm not running around saying, ban all cigars.
Yeah.
I am an adult and I can make my own decisions, as can every other adult on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm responsible for the consequences of my decisions. So if I want to smoke a cigar, okay, maybe it's going to lead to some bad health problems later down the line. But for now, I enjoy a cigar. So same for the dude who wants to sit there and watch porn. Mm-hmm. He has a choice to make. I'm going to sit here and tell him, hey, man, like, you probably, if you start becoming, addicted to this or habit forming around this, probably not the best thing for you long term. He can take that advice or he can ignore it, and he's still responsible for his own actions.
Right.
So that's how I look at it.
Gotcha.
It's just like people who say they're socialist and then they go and buy a mansion.
Yeah.
Bingo.
You gotta play the game.
Dude.
Or they tweet about being a socialist on their iPhone.
Yeah.
Made by guys.
That's
That's
what activism is now.
Yeah.
Just
They
to
take
tweet.
their private jet to a conference about socialism.
Or about air pollution or global warming.
Dude, it's ridiculous.
Double standards. All right, Trey, let me serve you up. Okay, so, and your relationship status and how you're making your money these days.
I am married, making money. I was a track athlete in Division I in college, 6-time All-American. Then I went on.
In track?
Yeah, in track.
What sport? Or within track, I'm saying. When you're running,
I
you're
was,
jumping, you're pole
100 meter,
vaulting.
200 meter, 400 meter. I was your guy. I could do anything.
Fast as fuck.
I'm just running. Anything to get that scholarship
Forrest
money is
Gump
what I'm
vibes.
doing.
You saw me, I was running.
Yeah. And then after
Wow.
that, literally went from college straight into rugby. I played for 3 months before I made the USA national team.
Wow.
So I was a professional rugby player, and I know professional track athletes, professional football players, professional rugby players, obviously. And I definitely agree with what he's saying in terms of there's usually an understanding. These guys are gone for 2 or 3 weeks at a time. Things happen. So when you talk about that kind of caliber, a guy that's bringing in multi-millions, generally speaking, there's some kind of agreement. Not all the time, but sometimes. But so, yeah, I'm married and I played rugby. Now I predominantly make most of my money from YouTube.
Gotcha.
I have other things that I'm doing too, crypto, stocks, boring stuff. But most of the money's coming in from YouTube.
Yeah, and how often are you doing content on YouTube? Are you
I'm
just
posting
daily, every day?
I'm foaming at the mouth. I'm posting
Really?
daily, yeah.
And the majority of your content is what? Male self-improvement,
Yes.
men's rights, what?
Yes, I'm talking about feminism. I'm talking about how men can protect themselves from certain ways that feminism can be used to take advantage of them. So, yeah. So I'm just kind of a voice. I'm looking at certain situations, and I'm giving it from a male perspective, and then telling other men who are thinking the same thing why they may be thinking that.
Got it. And
That's
how old are you?
essentially 26. 27,
26.
actually. I just turned 27.
All right, it's easy to forget sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay. And how long you been married?
2 years now.
So you got married when you were 25.
Yes.
Young.
Yeah.
To get married.
Yeah, that's what they
Where
say.
did all this wisdom come from? At such a young age.
In all honesty, I got most of my values from Christianity,
Okay.
but then I seen a lot of the neglect to enforce the rules in Christianity, and I've seen a lot of people who say they're Christian just kind of using it as a guise to do whatever they want to do. It's kind of like the steal the bike and pray kind of thing. Like, instead of praying for a bike, steal a bike and then ask for forgiveness. That kind of. I seen a lot of people kind of doing that. And I kind of backed out of it, but I got a lot of my moral values from Christianity. And it turns out when you're focused on a goal like trying to be a professional athlete and you're truly disciplined in it, it's hard to be degenerate because you're focused on something.
Right.
So, it was easier for me to focus in because I had a goal, and I've always had goals. So that's what I try to do.
Respect. And where do you live?
I live in Fort Worth, Texas now.
So you're in Texas. You're all over the map right now, but based in South Florida.
I pay rent in Miami.
Okay, gotcha. Shout out to Justin if he's watching. And you're based in New Orleans full time?
New Orleans and Atlanta.
New Orleans and Atlanta.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Better city to be a rapper or to produce?
Better city to be a rapper, Atlanta.
Really?
Hands down.
Damn.
Hands down.
Your people in New Orleans are going to be upset when they hear this.
They know. They know. They gonna agree
No,
with
they
me.
know.
Yeah, they trying to leave too. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Okay. All right. Well, thank you for the introductions, everyone. Everyone looks great. Everyone's doing their thing. Natalia, let's get to our first story. By the way, like the video, subscribe to the channel. We do this for you guys. So show some respect to our content creators over here who came here for you guys. Now, with that being said, let's go from creating to providing. So I saw this story. This is a Pew Research poll, okay? So if you're not familiar with Pew Research, they're probably the most credible research company on earth, okay? When they kind of speak, people listen, all right? I know a lot of people don't find the polls to be too trustworthy these days, especially politically, but this is a poll you can trust. So the title of the article is this: Americans see men as the financial providers even as women's contributions grow. So we're going to scroll in on a couple of these stats, and we're going to have our panel kind of assess where they're at with this kind of stuff. So here's the first thing that we're going to discuss. It says for couples today, a growing share of women are providers, but the public still looks to men for family financial support. So let me kind of paint the numbers here, and then we can scroll out and get the feedback here. So in 1980, by the way, is anybody here 40 yet? Okay, I'm the only one that's 40 here. All right. So when I was born, right, 80, 81, men, 87% of men were making more than women, okay? 13% versus 87%. Now, today, in 2022, this is a poll, they're only going back a few years to 2017, so that number is probably higher now. 31% of women were making more than men versus 69%. I'm willing to bet that is closer to 60-40 today, right? Just look at the trajectory, okay? Second poll. Our second stat, percentage of men and women saying that being able to support a family financially is very important for them. As you can see in the first results, men are in green, women are in yellow. Men and women are on the same page here. They're basically saying, yes, we want the man to be the provider. They all can agree upon that. Now, it gets a little bit different when they say, all right, do you want the women to be a good provider for the family financially? The men says 25%, okay, whereas the woman says 39%. So let me just extrapolate that a little bit. When it comes to men providing, both men and women are on the same page. Yes, the majority of men and women fully agree, yes, the men should be the provider. Now, when asked if the woman should be the provider, men, 75% are like, no, I'm good. I got this thing. Whereas 25% of men say, yeah, that'd be great. Even more so, the women. Okay, 61% of women are saying, yes, the man should be the provider versus 39%. So we can scroll out there. So here's the deal. You see these stats. Is there anything that's blowing your mind? You talk about this stuff all day long, do you not? So is it fair to say that you're the breadwinner in your family? And what are your thoughts on a female being a breadwinner?
Yeah, I am the breadwinner. When it comes to a female being a breadwinner, it shows that statistically speaking, when the female's the breadwinner, you have a higher chance for divorce. So, and I think part of that is because it's not necessarily that men don't like women that make a certain amount of money. It's not the money that's the problem. It's the characteristic traits that come with making that kind of money. So if I have no time, if you're making a lot of money, I'm assuming you're always busy. You're probably disagreeable. You're probably very assertive. Well, if I'm also busy all the time, I'm also disagreeable, I'm also very assertive, every day is going to be a war zone. Also, who's going to spend time with the kids? So if I have enough money as a man to provide for myself and a family, I don't need you to also have the money to provide for you and a family, especially if you're still going to require me to pay all the bills. You see what I'm saying? So there's a lot of women that want to go out and work and make just as much money as men, but they don't want to pay the bills, as we've seen in the poll there. They don't want to pay the bills like they expect men to pay the bills. So they're exchanging their traditional values to be able to go and make money while still requiring a man to maintain his traditional values.
Now, so, Sterling, thank you for that. Sterling, you said when we asked what you've done for work, you started off being a male companion. Okay, so walk us through that, meaning women were paying you to kind of be the man in their life.
Yeah, it's actually really, really high earning women.
That's what I assumed.
Like multi-millionaires.
Of course.
Paying me.
So what was your experience with very wealthy women paying you to be a companion? And then go deeper there, meaning are they even attractive? Would you actually hit it if they weren't paying you? Like, walk us through that. I don't know if there's anybody that's getting paid by women to do anything like that. So what your story is very unique. So I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, what you found is that a lot of these women are very, very lonely. So imagine, women in their mid-30s, generally, earning, multiple six figures and up.
Mid-30s?
Yeah.
So I went directly to, woman who's 60 years old.
Nope.
I don't know why I did that.
Nope, mid-30s.
Mid-30s?
Yep.
Okay. And did you guys also go older women, or where'd you go mentally when you said he was a companion?
I knew he was going to say that.
I thought mid-30s would be accurate, too.
I thought that, yeah. Because
you're still at the point where you desire it physically, but,
Did you also think that, Natalia? When he said male companion, what age did you think?
I would say late 30s, 40s.
Okay. Got it. I went way older. I went like sugar mama kind of a thing.
That makes sense.
Go on, sir. Go on,
I mean,
sir.
they would go a little bit higher.
Yeah,
but,
like
but the average was like mid-30s. And because they get into a point, right? They're typically like career women or entrepreneurial women, and they're getting to a point where the kind of guy they want to be in a relationship with, the kind of guy that they want to take them out on a date, he ain't interested in them.
Of course.
That's basically their peer.
And do they know? Did they understand why he's not interested? Did they elaborate on that?
No, I don't think they do.
They don't.
But they understand that they can't get him, and so I'm there to fill in that fantasy.
Is it because of their age? Is it because of their looks? Is it because of the concept of hypergamy? That like, if you're making $250,000 or $500,000 a year as a woman, you're only going to mess with a guy that makes equal to you or more than you. And the dating pool shrinks, right? I mean, only 10% of America makes more than $150,000.
Yeah. She wants a guy that's on her level, but that guy that's on her level doesn't want her.
Doesn't want her.
And the guy that's on her level, let's say he's making $500,000 a year, he doesn't care about your money. He just wants a young, hot girl.
Bingo.
Exactly.
Bingo.
Yep. He's going for like the 18, 19-year-old secretary or whatever.
Yeah.
And that leaves her option, like, because she ain't willing to go down.
Yeah,
right?
She's not...
and go down financially, right? So
she's like, let me clarify that. They're willing to go down, just not financially.
Right. So she's like, okay, well, they still have this craving, this urge, this desire, this need for that companionship and that love. They want to feel beautiful again.
Of course.
They want to feel like they did when they were 20.
Yeah.
And so I come in, I fulfill that role. I'm that guy that they're fantasizing about.
Yes.
Right?
Wow.
And she understands that it's a transactionary thing.
Yes.
But she's able to suspend that disbelief for an evening so she can indulge in that fantasy.
Is it usually just an evening? Is it longer than that? Is it a full-on relationship at some point?
Yeah, it could be a weekend away at a skiing trip. I've had that happen before. You know, they've taken me to New Zealand and we go on a skiing trip together for a whole weekend, or it'll be a kind of a relationship over several times.
They take you to New Zealand.
Yeah.
So you're a
Dee-1's mind is getting blown over here.
You're a sugar baby.
Yeah.
Basically,
Yeah.
like at that time. I did that for
And do
like
they
4 years.
always expect sex?
It's kind of implied, but it's not really 90% of the interaction is not about the sex, really.
What is
It's mostly like whining and dining them at dinner, having conversation, asking them questions, being genuinely curious,
being present
about them, being present, right?
But they pay the bill?
Yeah, they pay the bill.
Oh my god.
So when dinner comes, so we could stay here all day long.
Makes sense.
Bill comes. I'm very clear to gentlemen out there. Like, listen, anything to do with going out, dinner, drinks, you have to pay the bill.
I agree.
Okay.
I agree.
Okay. Unless you're in a circumstance like this.
A very unique circumstance.
Does that ever break the fantasy? Does that ever kind of like,
Not really.
or do they know before they even get that? Like,
They know beforehand.
Okay.
okay.
And it's all, and one of the big things I kind of picked up on, because I was doing this when I was like 25 till I was like 29.
Wow.
That was kind of my age gap when I was doing it. And what I really clocked on to really quickly was that I had to be super aware of not overreacting to the price of things on the menu. Like I'm like,
Especially when you're
Makes sense,
mid-20s when you
yeah.
didn't have a lot of money, you're saying?
yeah, bingo. So I
Got it.
didn't have the money I have now. And so, like, I'm looking at, like, oh, it's like caviar or this bottle of wine or whatever. I'm sitting like, God damn, that's expensive.
Right.
But I've got to play it cool
Yes.
and not react that way when the bill comes or when we're
Of
ordering
course.
things.
I do this all the time.
Yeah,
James Bond
exactly,
style.
exactly.
You got to be James Bond in that
Right.
one.
Another, a really great example, when I went on this skiing trip with this Chinese millionaire, we were walking around the town or whatever. She went into this jewelry store and she bought this pair of earrings. And the pair of earrings cost like twice as much as she'd paid me for the entire weekend.
Wow.
And I had to play that off. I'm like, in my head, I'm thinking, mother, I should
Pay
I
me
should have
more.
charged more.
And how do you negotiate the rate with these women?
I mean, we in Australia, this sort of thing's legal or decriminalised, I should say. So we have like forums where we can advertise our rates and our services and things. And,
Wow.
And for like longer trips, you sort of negotiate a price with the client.
Do you still do that anymore?
I don't do that anymore because that's illegal in America.
Okay. Gotcha. And was there a point where you're like, all right, I've had enough? Was it like a bad experience, or was it like, all right, I've made my money? Was it like, I feel degraded, these women don't respect me?
Did you start liking it?
You're a piece of meat, Australian,
Look, man,
meat.
Like I'm a piece of. I signed up for being a piece of meat. Like it's not me. I never felt disrespected, and they're
Yeah.
always fantastic. They were always lovely. It got to the point really I transitioned into porn because I just had this burning desire to do that. I'd always wanted to see if I could be a porn star.
Got it.
It was actually I actually had I had a family member passing away from cancer, and when someone's dying from cancer, like you think about death a lot. You know,
Of
course.
It's not like someone getting hit by a car, like bam, they're gone. It's like tragic.
Right.
It's like this thing's inevitable and it's coming. And so I thought about death for a while, and there was a period of about 30 days straight where I woke up every morning and I asked myself the exact same question. I said, if I died today, what's the one thing I would regret having never done in my life? And for 30 days straight, the answer was porn.
Really?
Wow.
I don't know why.
Were you one of the guys who watched porn?
Yeah, I used to watch porn all the time. Yeah.
Oh, and then you just... I see.
And then I just...
So would you promote that? If a guy watches, hey, be a porn star, would you promote that?
No, because it's one of those industries where normally it wouldn't help you.
Okay,
like
but it helps you.
If you're a rapper, right, it probably helps you to listen to other rap music.
Yeah, it
right,
does,
and you get you immerse yourself.
Yeah,
you get inspired, right?
Yeah.
Apart from like looking at it from like, if you look at it from a technical perspective, like the lighting, the camera angles, the positions, how is he changing from one position to another? You have to look at it technically, which is how I actually look at porn now.
Gotcha.
I don't look at it as masturbation material. I look at it like
the lighting is off in this scene. I can't even watch it anymore. What is going on here? The guy clearly isn't delivering pizza correctly. I mean, what is happening? Why is this girl always stuck in the washing machine? What is happening?
Adam.
Respect.
Yeah, man, that's how I look at porn.
Of course. So Dee-1, you're hearing Trey kind of break down more of a traditional role of a man in a
that's my long lost brother right there. Everything he's saying, I'm saying
exactly.
Like,
And obviously in more of a less traditional role, but also the man's role in a relationship also traditional.
Yeah.
How important is it for you for a woman's income? Are you familiar with the concept of hypergamy?
Nah.
Okay, so hypergamy is basically the concept of the act of dating up. Women want to date up, okay? Whereas men, like he said, if you're a successful guy, you'll bang the 18-year-old secretary, whatever.
Right.
Women are attracted to status, whereas men are attracted to looks. Fair enough?
Facts.
So that's hypergamy. So women will only typically date across the income stream or above, whereas men will take whatever they can get. So as far as you're hearing this, and you're the one person on the panel that's like, I'm not even watch porn. I don't know about red pill.
Yeah.
How are you processing all this?
Yeah, so I agree that most women who do well financially, they have a hard time finding a man. They do. I've seen it firsthand because they often neglect the fact that a man is not attracted to their college degrees. A man is not attracted to their status. A man is not attracted to their salary. And they spend these years, their formative years, in their mid-20s, their late 20s, their early 30s, trying to attain this status and whatnot. And by the time they get it, they realize that, just like we spoke about, the guys who are doing better than them are totally like not drawn to these degrees and these job titles and these salaries that they have. So I've seen that firsthand a whole lot. I think that for women who want to be with guys who are going to like do better than them, what they don't realize is that they're contributing to this population of all these single women who is like, wait, how in the world are all these women in their 40s and their 50s who aren't ugly by any means, how are they so single? But that's what it is. It's just, you have to ask yourself, am I willing to date a man who isn't as successful as me? I see some women who, to me, they beat the curve and they realize, whoa, I make $250,000 a year. Not many men are gonna make more than me. I'm willing to get with a man who makes $80,000 a year, because still socially that he can make $80,000 a year and be respectable, be an accountant or something like that. And you know what? Socially, that's not a bad look for me. He's not a bus driver. You know what I mean? He's not a janitor somewhere. So I see some women who will get with a man like that. And oftentimes, bro, the problem is that the women who get with these men who make less money than them, they have this dominant nature about them. They have this natural assertiveness, aggression that is just like super unattractive to most men. You know what I mean? Especially a man that's doing well for himself.
Yeah. What is it that's unattractive?
What's unattractive is no man is trying to be bossed around. No man is trying to be talked to like you're the woman. I'm Christian. By me being Christian, I look at it in a very traditional sense that the man should be the head of the household. The man should be submitting to God. The woman should be submitting to the man. Very controversial opinion these days. People are getting canceled out there for having that point of view. Really, bro? That's crazy. I feel like that's part of the problem though, is that women who want to be this head of the household, whether it's financially, whether it's just opinion wise, whatever it is, we're out of order in society. We're out of order. And now you have these women who are super like dominant, but they're super lonely oftentimes, because the only type of man who's going to get with a woman who has this aggressive alpha type vibe and personality is a man who is clearly like a beta man, a submissive man, a man who is like women hated, you know, God bless the dead, women hated Kevin Samuels. You know, Kevin Samuels was speaking some real stuff.
Yes. Well, so what I love about what's happening right now is because you guys we all kind of play in the same sandbox right here. The manosphere, the red pill. Dee-1 doesn't know anything about it. He's doing his rapping thing, right? But as you're talking, you know that light bulbs are going off. You're like, yep, boom, Kevin Samuels, yep, boom. Yeah, woman submit to man submit to God. This is exactly what the red pill community is all about. Am I wrong on this? You want to answer?
Yeah, you're right. But what's going to happen is they're going to clip the part where we say these characteristics are attributed to women that make a certain amount of money. They're going to say, look at these men say they can't handle a strong, independent, financially stable woman. And that's how the narrative gets flipped. So you can have a whole panel full of men telling women, without even rehearsing it, telling women the exact same opinion, and it'll still be seen as misogynistic.
Which I think is incredible, because by the way, did we talk up front what we're going to be talking about today?
Nope.
We had 5 minutes of introduction. How are you? This is Sterling. This is Dee-1. This is Trey. How you doing? Guys, we're going to do a show today. We're going to encourage men to get better physically, financially, mentally, all that, emotionally, and we're just going to see where it goes. And obviously, we've gotten to this funnel right here. So yeah, I mean, like you could have been like, "Yo, women are the boss." I said, like you, like none of this was planned, but we're kind of walking into exactly where people.
This is how men think, but unfortunately, when we are organic about what we think, they'll say they want us to communicate, but as soon as we communicate what we genuinely think, we're labeled as misogynist.
Yeah.
So
they know better though, bro. At this point in time, most women know better. They know that a man does not want a dominant alpha type of woman. Like, they know that. I had a woman tell me that she was looking for Michelle Obama. She wanted to be the Barack Obama of her relationship, and she was looking for Michelle. She told me this. We were out on a date, and at that moment,
you got the bell.
At that moment,
she wants to be the Barack, and she's looking for Michelle.
And you know that she is. If she does find that guy, she is going to be so unhappy.
Exactly, miserable.
She is going to be miserable.
Now, why do you think she'd be unhappy, Sterling?
Well, because it's not in her nature to lead the relationship.
Yeah,
women do not want to be. They don't want that. They're like allergic to that responsibility and that accountability.
Yeah,
like especially the accountability part. Like, women tend to want to defer to like the group think. When it comes to making decisions, that's why women on social media tend to go along with whatever the mainstream narrative is a lot more often than men do.
Yeah. That's why I think Rollo always says that men are more hierarchical. Okay, we have the general, then we've got the lieutenant, and the major, and the captain. We get it.
Yeah.
Whereas women are more communal, social, collective, if you will. Yeah. The collectivism. They want everything to be equal, and
it's because they don't have to live in competition, though.
Yeah.
Like, we have to compete for reproduction, so we're hardwired for competition, and that means that we're hardwired to accept criticism, because the only way you can get better is if you can accept criticism from your boys.
But Trey, how do you process that? Because women are also competing in the sexual marketplace. Women want to look good. They do their best. They want to put on their makeup, put on their high heels. They're out there competing.
Yeah, but it's indirect competition.
Okay.
Like, a woman ain't gonna, if a nice looking girl walks into the room, she's gonna compliment her, but to her friend, she's gonna say something, to the side. It's because women they compete, but it's indirectly.
It's a look at this bitch.
Yeah, so it's just a different kind of competition. For men, it's a blood sport.
This makes me think. Have you seen? Obviously, you've seen Friday. We've all seen it, right? But when she's like, "Hey, how you doing, girl?" It's like, "Look at this hoe." You know this part, right? Okay.
I think it's also because like men, like, people talk about women selecting men, and women being the sexual selectors, right, in relationships, right, where men just take what they can get. But the reality is that men actually kind of select each other. Yes. Like, you put a group of men together, and they'll naturally figure out who's the top dog. Like, will men self-select into a hierarchy, and then women step back and take a look at what the men have done and be like, okay, that guy's the top dog.
That's why women love status. Go after him. That's why they love status.
But do guys look at that when, like, you look at a group of girls? Do you look at them and say, which one is the head one?
No, not at all. If a woman is attractive, she's attractive.
You know what's funny? I asked that because I live in South Beach. I have a bar in South Beach. I'm out there. I always run into like a flock of girls. I call it. And I use flock respectfully. They're flocking around, right? And I'm always like, hey, ladies, what are you guys up to tonight? Or what are you guys up to this weekend? And they're, maybe I'll be with a couple of my boys or whatever, or maybe be at my bar, whatever we got going on. And they'll all kind of like look around, and I'll always be like, who's the leader of the group here? And they'll always know, oh, she is.
Yeah.
They'll kind of all look around and be like, yep, Sarah's, and Sarah will be like, yeah, like, what's up? Like,
yes.
So the women know that there's a certain girl calling the shots within that group. Is that kind of where you're going with this, or what?
Yes.
Would you say that that's generally the one that's the most masculine, though?
Oh, yeah.
The most outspoken, the most dominant.
Usually.
Yeah. It's usually not the prettiest one.
Yeah,
it's the one that's most dominant.
Correct.
It's the one that's going to cock block you the most, too.
Bingo. That's what we look at. We look at the cock blockers.
That is true.
Okay, well, I think what would be good here right now, let's use what Dee-1 stands for maybe to kind of define women. Dee-1 is known for obviously being a rapper, but your tagline, your slogan is be real, be righteous, be relevant. This is what you want men to do, what people to do, to what you stand for.
Correct.
So why don't we extrapolate that and say, what are the 3 things that we want from a woman? Why don't we do that, right? I actually did an interview with Vince Vaughn recently at an event called Model Volleyball. I saw Vince Vaughn. I said, hey, by the way, value Tainment. He goes, yeah, he knew Pat, okay? Small world, we did a little quick interview. And he saw me interviewing all the models at this event. Shout out to Model Volleyball. And he goes, yeah, I asked him what he was looking for in a woman or what advice he has. It's freaking Vince Vaughn, the man. And he goes, well, what do you think, what are men looking for? And my answer, I didn't have like a canned answer. And I said, head, heart, and dick. Meaning, okay, I need a girl that can stimulate my mind. I don't need an idiot. Like I work in finance. I work in media. I'm not going to, parade around a moron, okay? Heart, because I'm not a callous individual. I do believe in love. But dick, because I'm a man and I want to be attracted to attractive woman. And that's just kind of where I went with that. So with that being said, what are the 3 qualifications that and I don't think I even answered the question specifically, and I'll come back to it at the end. What are the 3 qualities that you're looking for in a woman?
Sophisticated, submissive, and sexy. That's the 3 right there.
3 S's, by the way.
Yeah, I'm gonna do the wordplay.
Exactly.
I'm a rapper, so
dude,
there's a bar right here. You heard me?
Real righteous and relevant. I want them sophisticated. Baby. What else?
Submissive, and sexy.
Okay, so we all know what sophisticated means. You want a classy woman.
There you go.
Freak in the lady in the streets, freak in the sheets.
And let's make sure that they know that sophisticated doesn't mean that you had to have a 36 on your ACT or that you had to go to an Ivy League school like Harvard or something. Sophisticated just means this culture where we celebrate women being ditzy and dumb and fast and city girls and all this stuff. Man, F that culture. You know what I mean? Like, I want someone who's classy. Like literally.
Is there a woman who comes to mind that is sophisticated? You say, okay, that's the type of person that just sophisticated. I'm not saying for all 3.
The sophisticated part, Michelle Obama.
Okay, there it is again.
Yeah, Claire Huxtable.
All right.
So sophisticated, just classy. Because I might have you in the hood with me one day in the Ninth Ward of New Orleans, where I'm from. But I might have you on Harvard's campus with me the next day. I don't need you thinking that popping your booty, twerking, to the elevator music and cutting up is what's up. You know what I mean? There's a time and a place for that. You heard me? Don't get it twisted. There's a time and a place for that.
You're gonna pop that thing, girl. Just not right now.
But not in front of my classmates. You know
what I'm saying? Okay, so sophisticated.
Yeah, sophisticated, submissive. Yeah,
that's another terminology that gets thrown around the red pill space. What does that mean to you?
Yeah, that means that I'm the leader. I don't mind being the breadwinner. That's not a hard thing for me. That's not something that I'll ever go back and forth with a woman on. It's like, well, you need to be paying for this and da da da. No, God has blessed me, and I've made moves in my life already that are going to benefit my future wife and my future kids. And I don't even know who they are yet. You know what I mean? But I've already made financial moves, made sacrifices as a man. Things that I could have bought that would have just been a waste of money, I chose to make investments now that have multiplied and quadrupled that money. You know what I mean?
I think the same way, by the way.
Yeah, bro. So we met at a financial literacy conference.
Exactly. We're going to touch on that. Exactly.
So, bro, that being said, I need someone who's submissive. And what my brothers are saying is really cool, because I recognize that women look for status, right? So a lot of times women won't submit if upon first glance it's not a man who is like, oh my gosh, he's 6'6", super big muscles.
Yeah.
He talks real aggressive. Like, okay, I'll submit to him, But a lot of times a woman won't submit to a man who's like, yo, I'm a Christian. Yo, I'm super respectful. I don't even curse. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a man of God. I make sure that I show people love. That's how I move about this world. A lot of times women will take that as, oh, that's not dominant. I can't submit to something like that. You know what I mean? And that's a problem.
This is kind of the pushback that you get from women?
I think there was some women. Well, first of all, like how my man said, he always act poor. I always act poor. You know what I mean? So when you act poor, I drove around a 1998 Honda Accord until last year. You know what I mean? On purpose. Yeah. Like, didn't have to be driving that at all.
I'm more surprised the car lasted. But I guess those cars did last a long time.
Wow. Yeah, it had 400,000 miles on it when I finally got rid of it.
So is it more acting poor or just staying humble?
For me, it's staying humble, but I realized that by staying humble, you are constantly being assessed and compared. So women are looking at it like, well, he's cute, but he pulled up in a 1998 Honda Accord. Meanwhile, that other guy on Instagram who tried to holler at me who's cute, he pulled up in an Audi. You know what I mean? So I think I'm going to give him the advantage, and I think I'll be more willing to submit to someone like him. I don't want you to submit because of my material possessions. I want you to submit because of my mindset.
Using it as you're filtering for the women that way.
Exactly. I want you to submit because of my mindset and my philosophy. I want you to submit because of my belief in God, and not just my belief, but like my adoration for, my obedience to God. So that should make you realize you're submitting to a lifestyle. You're not submitting to a few material possessions that make you say, "Oh, girl, he pulled up in this type of car. Whatever he want, I'm here. I'm all ears."
You're easily buyable.
You're
transactional.
Man. Yeah, transactional. I can buy you. Yeah. So
and what was your third one, by the way?
The third one was be sexy.
Okay.
Yeah, sophisticated, submissive, and sexy. The sexy part comes with knowing how to be soft. You don't have to have any fake work done for me personally. You don't have to go and get bigger breasts or bigger butt artificially. I know I'm in Miami right now. This is what, Dr. Miami, huh? This where it gets done at. Yo, you trying to get...
Shout out to Lenny Hochstein, my boy. He's that's my guy.
Okay. Yeah. So, like, I'm not even saying that when I say be sexy. I'm just saying, be someone who understands that don't try to convince me that as a man, I shouldn't be worried about how you look. There's some women who will try to, like...
Don't try to convince me. I like what you said right there.
Yeah.
Don't try to convince me that looks don't matter.
Some women will really try to convince you that, like, hey, you shouldn't just be worried about how I look. Almost like that's shallow. And I feel like you're trying to negate my manhood. You're trying to, like, cut off my testicles by trying to tell me how worried I should be about.
So let me
looks.
ask you something. Yeah. You're a rapper. You've done collabs with
big names. The Game is on my album that I just dropped. Lupe Fiasco is on my album I just dropped. Big Crit is on my album I just dropped.
You did stuff with Manny Fresh.
Juvenile, the whole New Orleans
exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
of course.
Bunch of people.
So have you ever done anything with Lizzo?
Come on.
Nah, nothing.
You've never done anything with her? She's very talented.
Super talented.
Okay, now if you
I would do something with Lizzo.
You would.
But there's also something I wouldn't do with Lizzo.
Okay, and what's that?
What I would do is music. Yes. What I wouldn't do is...
You're not listening to Keith Sweat in the bedroom with Lizzo. That's not your thing. And why is that, Dee-1? You're a respectful dude.
Yeah, I'm a respectful dude, and I respect Lizzo, and Lizzo is for somebody.
Yes.
Just not me.
Gotcha. And you say that it would be fair to say that she's not easy on the eyes to a guy like you?
Yeah, to me personally, I'm not physically attracted to Lizzo. And I shouldn't get attacked by a bunch of women for saying that. Because I can see the headline now. I can see it. As I said, I was like,
we've already covered stuff on Lizzo here. Gotcha.
Oh, shoot. So
musically, I love you, Lizzo.
There you go.
Sexually, pass.
And that's it, bro. And we should be able to, like, voice that preference, and it shouldn't be a problem. And women nowadays act as if they act as if men shouldn't be, saying, "Hey, I have a policy, no fat people allowed." And that's what I tell people in terms of, if I get with you, now watch this. If I get with you and you're already overweight, that's one thing.
Yeah.
If I get with you and you're not overweight, right? If I'm gonna spend the rest of my life with you, I feel like we should be able to hold each other accountable for saying, let's stay in shape.
Let's go.
You feel me?
Gotcha.
You feel me?
Of course.
But women act like that's a problem. Wait, you mean to tell me you wouldn't stay with me if I was to get bigger and if I was to da-da-da? If it's out of your control, you know what I mean? If it's a genetic issue, if it's something that's wrong, if it's after, pregnancy, I don't have any kids yet, but if it's something that's out of your control, that's one thing. Yeah. But if it's just you being like, I got him now, girl. He done married me. My last name didn't change. Mm-hmm. I got him now. I'm just gonna let myself go.
If you can control it, you ain't playing that game. All right.
I was actually reflecting on that when it comes to like women and especially attractive women trying to not want to be wanted for their beauty. I think it's kind of like the equivalent to men not wanting to be like to get women because of their money. You know what I'm saying? So like in their mind, they want a man to love them for their personality because every guy likes them for their looks. Right. You know what I'm saying? So over time, they start to believe that, he really just loves me for my personality and negate the fact that your attractiveness to a man is also very important. And I think that's fair because your finances to a woman is also very important. So like I was just reflecting on that a couple of days ago, and it's interesting that he brought that up because I was thinking about that. Maybe it's like a status thing, or maybe it's like a fear for why you're here. They want you to be there for the personality instead of just the looks, because everybody's there. Of course.
Well, I'll tell you a line, and then I want to get your 3 and Sterling's 3, but I'll tell you a line. I'm gonna kind of blow my own cover over here. I'll tell you a line that has worked for me for 20-something years in Miami, dealing with the models in South Beach. I'm putting myself on the spot here. I say to these beautiful women, I say, listen, there's a bunch of models running around Miami. I mean, they're all beautiful. Agreed? I go, but that doesn't do it for me anymore. I've been with so many models and so many bottle girls and so many pretty girls. It just doesn't do anything for me. So I'm going to need you to have something mentally or just bring something more to the table. Is that something you think you can offer? Of course I can.
Yeah, that's what they like.
To you. Yeah. No, I'm not just a pretty face. I'm actually fun. I'm actually cute. I'm actually smart. I actually did good on my AC. Like now they're selling themselves to you because you're basically saying, listen, you're taking the one thing that they have in their power, which is their sexual attractiveness, and taking to being like, yeah, I'm good on that. You're going to need to have more. Kind of like what you said with your intro. And all of a sudden now they're selling themselves to you. So hot tip to the gentleman out there. Wow. Say that you've been around a lot of models and like you're going to need to have more than that to get with the guy like me, Dee-1, and watch them sell themselves to you.
Well, that also deals with their own insecurity.
Of course.
Their own insecurity about like, okay, they're going to age.
Yes.
Their beauty is going to fade as they age. So if you're reinforcing to her, okay, there's something about you that is going to make me keep you around later on as your beauty declines, that addresses a direct insecurity of hers. Because every beautiful woman is incredibly... The more beautiful they are, the more insecure they are about their look.
You've learned that. Correct. The more pretty they are, the more they are insecure. Yeah. I've learned that. Is that what you've experienced?
100%.
Okay. Yeah. Why? So let's go with, what are your top 3? And then I want to get Trey's and we'll kind of move on. Top 3 qualities you're looking for in a woman.
So to even get I wouldn't list beauty or sexiness as one, because to even get in the door, that's a requirement of even getting in the door, right?
That's prerequisite.
Right? So number 1, they have to be attractive.
Well, okay, but I'm going to use these 3 as what's going to make me keep them around.
Okay.
As a girlfriend, a potential baby mama, whatever, right? Yes. Because that's what I'm actually looking for.
I'm not looking for a baby mama.
Multiple. Moving into
my man.
Look, I'm a handsome man. I got to spread these genes around, man.
Yes. The world needs more StirlingCooper out there, okay? Let's have a little respect.
Exactly.
Okay. So what you're saying is the attractiveness, that's the obvious. We're not even going to put that in the top 3 because it's self-explanatory. Now what's going to keep you there? Is that where you're going with this?
Exactly. For me, it's going to be loyalty, submissiveness, and her ability to improve my social standing in some way. Right?
Okay.
So
the loyalty, we get the submissiveness,
same
unless
thing.
You want to... Okay.
Exactly the same principle.
The social standing part, I want to hear more about that.
So, okay, there's many ways a woman can do that, right? Okay, is she somehow connected in a network that can help me financially or help with my business or whatever? Does she, how does she make me look in public? When I walk out the door with her on my arm, does she make me look like the man? Is she looking up at me with adoring eyes as we're sitting there at dinner, and all the guys who I'm doing business with around that table are looking at me with more respect now? That's a massive way a woman can add value. Because that is a thing. That's a huge thing.
That's powerful. That's powerful.
Right? Like, and if she's genuinely beautiful and attractive,
that's powerful.
She's also going to make me look really good when I step out with her.
Of course.
Right? So that's something a woman can actually add value to a man's life with, and most women don't even really like understand that. And we talked about how kind of masculine a lot of women can be these days. They're actually doing the opposite by making their man look like a bitch.
Facts.
In public. Like by talking back to him, by disrespecting him in public.
Oh my God. I had to pull my buddy aside. He was in love with this girl, and she was full on disrespecting my boy on his birthday.
No.
She's like, he doesn't even know what he likes. I remember I didn't do it that day. And then he's like, they ended up breaking up. I was like, brother, like, the way that your girl was treating you, unacceptable.
Yeah.
On your birthday, dog? I can't even imagine what's happening not on your birthday. He's like, yeah, she's kind of lippy. I'm like, lippy? You might got to give her a little fat lip. What? I muffled that. Nobody. As you were, sir.
Another example of, behavior that can make me look really good in public. Like, okay, we're at the club the other night, and my girl was there, and then my boys had their girlfriends there. And every time my drink was empty, my girl came up and gave me a fresh one, and she's watching me the entire time to see my drink.
Such a powerful move.
As soon as
just the fact that she's like, my man's thirsty.
Bang, she's taking care of me.
Wow,
right? And that makes me look good to all my boys.
And by the way, she paid $0 for that entire table. I'm assuming
it's all me. Yeah,
so it's the least she could do.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
it's reciprocation.
That's simple. That's a good point. It's the least she can do.
Yes,
but
you're drinking free and eating free all night
off me.
Make sure that I'm not standing with an empty cup.
But a lot of women will sort of take that. Their level of entitlement is quite high.
Yep.
So
they think that makes them look weak.
Yeah.
They think that makes them look weak, bro.
It makes you look good, baby.
Facts.
It makes me want to keep her around.
Hey, I want to say that. I want to say before I forget this. I think a lot of women have a problem when the paradigm shifts to where the man in the relationship is actually the prize. Women are conditioned that they're the prize in society, right? They're the prize, and I have no problem pursuing you, but I will not chase you. There's a big difference. A lot of women nowadays just want to be chased endlessly. They want to be chased like to infinity. And I'll pursue you. I'll initiate as a man. But at the end of the day, once we start to recognize our worth and our value and realize that we're the prize, then that's where a lot of women say, I'm not used to having to compete. I'm not used to having to bring anything to the table other than just this body that I was blessed with, that I didn't even have to work for a lot of times, that I was just naturally blessed with. And that's the problem is women are not willing to compete because if they want a man who is, in the upper echelon, they have to realize that if you want him exclusively, me and my bro right here, we talking about two different things. I'm seeking out one woman. He's like, bro, that's not even in the bro. I'm not even trying to.
You're trying to repopulate.
Right. So for me, I'm just like, I just recognize in the humblest way possible that I'm a prize at this point in life. And with that being said, it's very easy to recognize when someone doesn't view you as a prize and they wonder why you're not more excited about being with them. And it's just because you don't recognize my worth.
But Dee-1, you got to understand the prize, you're now the prize. But it's because you pursued excellence. What's the phrase in The Man is for the Red Pill? Chase excellence, not women.
Yeah. Okay.
Because the more excellent of a man you become, the more women will show up.
Facts.
You weren't a prize 15 years ago.
Facts.
You were driving around in your 1980 Corvette, but because that's all you could afford at the time.
Facts.
So your mindset had to upgrade to be like, all right, I just went from being just a regular old rapper to now I'm a hit songs, labels. I'm my mindset needs to change right there.
That's big.
So pursue excellence.
So the people watching this need to know that too. Like bro, when you're 19, 20, 21 years old, you might not be celebrated at that stage in life for being smart, and for having ideas and being focused and passing on, going to the club. You won't get celebrated then. But bro, give it 5 more years.
Yes.
Give it 10 more years.
Yes.
And you will become such a commodity in society, bro.
Yes.
The world will be in your hands.
Respect. Exactly. So all our younger guys out there, life's a marathon, not a sprint, okay? Don't feel bad about yourselves because you're 23 years old and you don't got no money and you can't compete. Take your time. I was broke as shit when I was 26. Broke as shit. I was a millionaire by age 35. Give it 5 years. Give it 10 years. Figure it out. Yep. You can do it.
Amen.
You were finishing up your big 3.
And what was the other one I said? I said submissiveness. I said the ability to make it look good. I said loyalty. Yeah. So for me, loyalty is like, okay, is she going to be? Are you going to be exclusive to me? Boom. Like my penis has been inside of you. Are you? If I see you on like some dude's boat the next weekend,
yeah.
If you go out on a girls' night the next weekend, if you're at the club, I'm like that is not a loyal woman.
Okay.
Instantaneously, that disqualifies you as being loyal, right? Because if we have been sexual together, I expect that you will never even put yourself in a position to advertise to another man.
But how quickly can you use that? Like if you're with a girl and you go out a couple times and you sleep each other, she doesn't owe you anything after 2 dates.
If I've had sex with her twice, I expect that to be it.
Twice?
That should be the be all and end all.
Wow. So one time you'll let it slide.
Oh, one time decides whether she's a hoe or not. Huh. Like one time I sleep with her and then I'm looking. Then I'm looking for these green flags or these red flags. Like I'm looking at her socials. What's she posting on her socials? Where's she going? What's she doing? Is she replying? Like how keen is she? Like,
it's all a test.
To text back to me. Like if I have sex with a woman, right? This is something that I think a lot of mistakes that women make is a guy will take her out on a date. They'll sleep together, and she will expect him to text her back the next day. Honey, why are you playing hard to get? He already got you. You should be humbling yourself enough to text the guy back and want to reinitiate that contact again. Because that tells me this is a good woman. That tells me this is a woman who actually values like her sexuality, who actually values what she has to offer, and she doesn't want to throw it away for nothing. She's like, okay, well, I had a great time with this guy. I slept with this guy. Like, I want to keep him around. So I expect to see some level of commitment.
Okay, light bulb, bing, just went off. Thank you, Sterling. You're saying that if you have sex with a woman, and okay, let's say that's a Friday night. Saturday rolls around. She does not text you. Sunday rolls around. She does not text you. Something's off.
Yeah.
Meaning she's treating sex as like it's another freaking Tuesday.
Yeah.
She should be texting you, hey, thanks for a great night, blah, blah, blah.
I'd love to see you again.
Love to see you again. But when they do not text you the next day, something's up.
Yeah, it's not 100% clear cut.
Yes.
Black and
it's
white.
not scientific.
Yeah, but to me,
a lot of this is your gut instincts anyways.
That's my gut feeling. Is
Natalia, as a beautiful lady who may or may not have done anything inappropriate on a Friday night, is what he's saying makes sense. Like, do you typically... I'm not even saying sexually. If a guy takes you out on a nice date and you guys have a nice time together, from the mindset of a woman, do you text them the next day? Do you expect them to text you? How do you process this?
I mean, naturally, you want them to text you because, I mean, I would think
you want that. You want
that, right? Mm-hmm. But I mean, I would say you only want it because if the person I go out with, I would assume that they're also wanted by others. So when they show that, hey, I'm going to pick you and text you, you also feel like, well, then I'm going to give you the attention you need. And then I think eventually the tables turn. I think at that point, that's when women become a little bit more like texting all the time and they can become more clingy. Because once you show that, it shows that like, hey, you probably know I'm around, right? But I'm picking you. So it's just that initiative, that leadership that like guys show that are attractive to women. Like, you know, I mean, would I text a guy after a date? Sure. I'd text him like, hey, I had a great time, whatever, X, Y, and Z. But I don't know. I would prefer a guy to do it.
Well, this goes to the concept of a man must attain the woman, but the woman must retain the man, right?
Absolutely.
It's like sex is not a guarantee. If I have sex with a woman, that's not a guarantee of a relationship with her. That's like, okay, that's your entry fee.
But if you don't have sex with her, if you don't have sex with her, do you still expect her to text you?
No, I don't expect as much of a commitment from a girl if we haven't had sex yet.
Oh, okay.
Because for me, in my head, like, I mean, just in my experience, once sex has happened, that's when the dynamic of the relationship will shift. The power dynamic very much obviously shifts after you've had sex with a woman for the first time. And I think men and women both understand that instinctually. Right. And it was funny you said that you used the word clinginess before. It's kind of weird because I'm obviously not around my woman 24/7. I actually look for that clinginess kind of behavior as a green flag for me because it doesn't affect me because I ain't around her 24/7. If I was around her 24/7, that clinginess would be a bad thing for me. But if I'm not around her 24/7, if I see her like once every 3 months, that clinginess is actually fantastic for me because that keeps her loyal. It keeps her invested in me. That means I ain't got to worry about this girl. Okay, cool. She's on the hook. She likes me. Like, she's committed to me. She's falling in love with me.
So it's like confirmation for you guys.
So I actually kind of look for that clinginess and to a degree.
That's a green flag for you.
For me, yes.
For a lot of men, that's a red flag.
Because for me, because my relationship is very my relationship is very low maintenance on my end, right? Like I said, I ain't hanging out with her all the time. I'm seeing her once every 3 months when I fly to Europe or something. So like, she has to be able to put up with that limited amount of time around me. And that's a mental test for her. If she can't handle that, okay, she's not one for me. But if she can actually handle that and accept that I'm not going to be texting her back every time, I'm not going to be texting her 24/7. I'll tell her I love her and I miss her every now and then, but I'm not going to be like I've got business to run. You know, I don't have the time to sit there and go back and forth all day. If she can accept that the limited amount of attention I do give her is super valuable, then that's a good girl for me.
But I think women who want men like that, they expect that. Like, if I'm talking to a guy and he's texting me too much, I'm like, you're not working enough.
Yeah.
And that's
exactly
that's
what it is.
unattractive for me. I'm like, you're not working enough. Like, I'm working more than you. I need you to back up. So, like, I agree with that. I think
Got it. Yeah. Let me get to Trey for a sec. So, you're the only one who's married.
Yes.
Okay, so we're all kind of speaking in hypotheticals. You not only attained your woman, she's retained you, the whole thing.
Right.
What were the qualities that attracted? 3 qualities that attracted you to her. What were how did that dynamic work?
Well, loyalty. I mean, in terms of characteristics, I'm just do 3, and I'm gonna try to be brief about it. But loyalty, if I can't assure paternity, then that's a no-no for me. And I think it shows a lot of character in women too, when you can be loyal to one man. And if that's not there, it doesn't matter how attractive you are. That's, it's out the window. Second one is her submissiveness, or her, I won't even say submissiveness. I'll just say femininity. When we were kids, she was already making my plate. That was the first time I've ever had a woman make my plate. And from that point on, I was like, I'm going to marry this woman. What
do you mean when you were kids, you was making your plate? Like
when
dinner
we were
plate?
15, 16 years old, if I go over to her house or if she was at my house, she would stand up and make a plate.
You met your girl when you were a teenager?
Yeah.
You've been with her for this whole time?
Yes.
We love that.
Yeah.
You guys lost your virginity to each other?
Yes.
Only woman you've ever been with?
Yes.
Wow.
She's only got...
Claps.
I mean, hey, it is
Make
what
sure
it
you
is.
guys like the video, subscribe.
But you know something's happening when a porn star's like, hey, well on you, buddy.
Yeah.
Meaning like...
When you can find a woman with good character, that's the goal for many men.
That's
like
fantastic.
if I find an attractive, loyal, feminine woman, and those are my 3, by the way.
Okay.
If
Attractive, feminine, and loyal.
In this order, loyal, feminine, and attractive.
Okay.
The femininity comes from the fact that the social status thing too, as well.
Yeah.
I think femininity is also a reciprocation of value. If you see me waking up 6 a.m. every day while you get to sleep in the 2 p.m. because you're a housewife, can you make my plate?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like a lot of women will see that as a weakness.
The least you can do is make me a sandwich.
Bingo. And I know people are going to be offended by that. They're going to clip that, whatever it may be, but that is what it is. I've never seen a group of men sit down and have my drink filled up by my wife say, make fun of her.
Right.
So like women will say,
your wife.
women will say, you shouldn't do that because it makes you look weak. I've never seen men ostracize a woman for being too feminine.
So
ever. The only people I see making fun of women for taking care of their families are like 18-year-olds in Call of Duty lobbies.
Feminists.
Other women.
And other women, exactly.
And women are mean. Women would be like, oh, why are you doing that for your man? Like,
yes.
And they'll be the ones to get inside of a woman's head and have her second guessing.
Yes,
right.
Exactly.
Yes. Right. But there's a fulfillment when you take care of your man, because it's like, as a woman, I feel like like you really don't want to outmake your man. So it's like, how do I make up for that? And I'll do it in other areas, like making his plate, getting him drinks, and like, cleaning other stuff. Like you want to kind of be the fill in where they lack.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's kind of where, but women are mean. They get really nasty.
Yeah. Those are the only people that make fun of other women that are submissive. I had a guy, one of my friends, he came over to my house in Fort Worth not too long ago. He owns a construction company at 25 years old. The dude is killing it. He had a girlfriend that was living with him that refused to make him a plate. She refused to cook for him or anything. He was like, I'm not even asking for much. I just want you to put noodles in a pot with water. That's all I require from you. The man owns a construction company and he couldn't even get that. So that just goes to show how far we are in terms of women just being so against showing reciprocity for the things that their men do for them. And so you can't expect a man to die for you, but you're not willing to.
But there's going to be ramifications
crazy.
to these actions, right?
Yeah.
There's going to be ramifications. And you might say, well, what are the ramifications? And I always cite this exact same report that I've referenced a million times, and I'll continue to do it. the report shows that by 2030, 45% of working women ages 25 to 45 by 2030 will be non-married, no kids, single. Yeah. Okay. So you might say, well, what's wrong with that? Okay. If you think that you're going to be 45 years old, no kids, not married, and that you're going to genuinely be fulfilled in life because you made money, best of luck to you, honey.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. You got
it. Because all the men on this panel, and I would say that these are men's men, okay? Genuine athletes. What were you, the high school what? Homecoming king. Yeah. A man who gets paid by women to hang out with them, okay, are all basically saying we want to get married and have kids.
For sure.
We're all saying that, and we're men's men.
I'd say I want to have kids. I wouldn't say
exactly.
I wouldn't get married.
But you want to have a family. You want to have families.
Yes,
but that's my point. Yeah. So for you as a woman to say, I'm too good for that, I don't need that, it's like, let's see how that works out for you.
And what women don't realize when they're in that situation, when they won't go as far as to, say, make a man's lunch or try to find some way to add more value to his life. What she's actually doing is reducing herself down to a vagina.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If there's nothing you can bring to a relationship other than sex,
literally.
If I took a woman and I said, okay, your vagina has disappeared, your butthole has disappeared, your mouth has disappeared, your hands have disappeared. Okay, like you can do a hand job. Let's forget that for a second. right.
Foot job.
You need hands to make some lunch, right?
Yes.
But let's take
all
away
your sexual orifices
are gone, and you cannot do that.
Yes.
What can you do to keep a man around?
Yeah.
Yes.
A lot of women won't have an answer for this.
Correct.
Unfortunately.
Well, what's this phrase that goes around everywhere? It's like, show me a hot chick, I'll show you a guy who's sick of having sex with her.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
You ever heard that before?
It has to be other things.
You
that keep
gotta bring more to the table.
The more you do, the harder you are to replace. The more you take care of. So, like for me personally, sure, I make all the money, but when I took this trip, she's scheduling my flight. She knows the airline I like. She's scheduling the hotel. She knows that I like a little view.
Yeah. Yes.
She she's getting the rental car. She's doing the small things that makes my life easier so I can focus on being more productive.
Yep.
Yeah. And so if I want to replace her, I can't just replace her with a pretty face.
Right.
Nope.
I have to actually, she has to have some value to add.
You know who I want to introduce him to after the show? You're going to come upstairs with me. You're going to meet Leo Martinez and his wife Clarissa. They've been together since literally exact same story. They now run the upstairs entire sales division here at Value Tainment. They've been together since they're 15. Okay, he makes, I don't know, $500,000, if not more a year. She's here just to facilitate him. They've got 3 kids together. Like, you're going to look into your future, by the way. Like, genuinely, I want you to meet him. Very impressive.
The idea of a woman working with her man, a man that's an entrepreneur that has spent his whole life, and I'm just talking about myself, building something. You know what I mean? Made sacrifices to build something. And now it's successful. Now I have a music career longer than a decade at this point, going all around the world, hundreds of thousands of fans. And when you have a woman, when you've created this kingdom of sorts, and you know that you're a king, you know, you have this kingdom and you're in touch with what your God-given purpose is, prior to meeting a woman, it's natural that you will want a woman who can come in and help add value to what you've already created. Right. The problem is nowadays, a lot of women say, well, I see what you have going on, but I have this stuff going on that I'm working on creating. And there's very little to no overlap between what we have. And my thing is like, if there's not synergy to where we can coexist as one, as a team, as a unit, and like work together, it's not something that I want at this stage in life. It's really not something that I want, because when you are working on building something, who do you want to trust? Who are you going to be able to trust more than your woman? You know what I mean? We all want to be able to say, yeah, my girl, like that's who has the keys and knows all the passwords to everything. And that's my business partner. And for some people, they get so intimidated by that they feel like that's infringing upon their ability to be a boss or be a mogul and whatnot. And I think that's the problem, is you got too many women who are competing with their men to where they're like, whoa, you're doing well, but I'm doing well too. So, you know, we got to kind of like look at each other and size each other up to see, well, who's doing better. And a lot of relationships fall apart because they're living together, they're sleeping together, but they're competing against each other.
Because a lot of it is ego driven.
Yeah.
There you go.
You know, they say the ego is not the amigo. And at some point, like the most successful couples, the most successful families is when someone says, and it should be the woman, but not, I mean, all right, I'm going to take a back seat. You're going to run the show here. Yeah. Okay. We both can't drive the car. Yeah. I'll be the navigator. Right. I'll tell you when to pull off. Yep. I'll tell you what we got to do. Hey, there's a rest stop right here. I'm still in the front seat. Yep. I'm not in the back seat, dude. Yep. I'm not in the trunk. Yep. I'm not running behind the car. Like, I'm not pushing the car. I'm still in the front seat. I'm the navigator, but someone needs to drive the car. And that should be the man.
And that's the femininity aspect.
That's the femininity
exactly.
aspect. Mm-hmm. That's why it's so important, because I was also going to go into stuff like that. Like, I need somebody that's going. I don't need you to make decisions. Mm-hmm. I can do the decisions, and I can make the decisions because of the results that I've given.
And
the
women
results
want
that I've
you
shown.
to make the decisions.
Yes, they don't even want to tell you what restaurant. They don't even want to decide the restaurant for a date. So they don't want to decide life decisions for the most part. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I can make the decisions. That's fine. I just need you in the femininity aspect to make sure that even taking care of my family, making sure that I know mom's birthday is in a couple months, make sure I can remember these things, because when I'm focused on being productive, it's easy for certain things to slip my memory. Yeah. So yeah, that femininity aspect has a lot.
I think it's important to clarify, as far as like, and this is where the manosphere or misogyny kind of gets a bad name, or we value your input. When you say something like, I don't need you to make this, and a woman's gonna be like, what do you, I make my own. It's like, we're not saying that.
Right.
We're saying we can collectively figure out what we want to do, but at the end of the day, I'm going to decide what we need to do.
Right.
Like, how many times has your woman or any of your girlfriends been like, should I wear this or should I wear this? Should I wear this? How about this? How about this?
Every
Does this
day.
make my butt look big? It's like, baby, wear the black dress. You look great. Put the red heels on. Let's go. You're hot. We're out the door.
Yeah.
We're out. It's like, we don't.
Yeah, and I make every time, because I was on the national rugby team. I played for the national USA team. Traveled around the world, blast, whatever. There's a guy, like, I'm the wing, so I'm the guy that scores all the time. Like, that's my job. We have a captain because he's the one with the most experience, and we trust him to make the final decision. If I come up to the captain and I go, there's a guy that's guarding me, he doesn't look too good, he ain't too fast, I think he's tired, I think I can score if you pass the ball out. From his experience, he can analyze the situation, because, again, I only played for 3 months before I'm playing whole country, other national teams. He can go, I know that guy. I've seen him before. He's just baiting you. He's actually a really good player. Yes. Or he can go, you're right. Maybe we should pass the ball out. So I think that the women should be the neck and the men should be the head, as in, I make the final decision, but you can kind of control. If you notice something that I don't see, you can turn me in so I can notice it. So I think that's a huge aspect. I think that for the most efficiency, one final decision maker, I'll say, is the best way to go.
Love it. I love the content that we're getting today. Yes. Can we get to some super chats, and then we're going to move on to our next topic? Natalia, what do we got?
Chat. So let's start off with one super chat. It says Dee-1 should meet Rolo. That's from CK, $2. Thank you.
Really?
Yeah. Yes. And then we have Kaney's, $20. Thank you. One of my favorite artists and Value Tainment podcast, both keeping it real. You know a tree by its fruit. And then we have another one, $2. Johnny Green. Will you ever have Andrew Tate on the show?
To be continued. We're going to discuss it in a second.
He'll come up. OG Nando, $5. Thank you. Great show. Like Fresh and Fit, Andrew Tate, and R.I.P. Kevin Samuels would say better gentleman for you, not for the woman. And then we have Katya Vaselinvana. $50. I've been following Poor Man's podcast for a while now. A lot of wisdom in the message that you preach, and respect for leading by example. Thank you for all that you do, and God bless. And then somebody just asked a question. Peter Quad, $2. Does your wife have real or fake nails? They're saying people with fake nails aren't real. Like women, they're fake. So that was the question. And then we also had Ruslan, I think the real one, in the chat, saying hi to Dee-1.
Shout out to Ruslan, our guy.
Yes.
100%.
So super chats. And let's get some more super chats, guys. Oh, we got another one. It says, what's going on, PMP? Rolo invited you to talk on his live stream. How come you haven't accepted yet? Respond?
I haven't talked to Rolo yet. Oh. So okay. Is Rolo out here, by the way?
No, but he's here.
I've seen him on the show multiple times. I've engaged on the show. I've engaged in the show when he's been on. So yeah, I mean, I'm not opposed to linking up with Rolo. We just have to set it up, and it just gets hard because you're making content every day, and takes time. So
right, awesome. So those are super chats right now. We have over 1,300 people watching and only 44 likes. So I think everybody needs to take a minute, like this video, subscribe.
Hit that
I told you we'd have over 1,000 people. I mean, if we don't have 1,000 likes, we have 1,300 people watching live.
Right,
exactly.
Show respect to Dee-1. Show respect to Sterling.
Click a button.
Show respect to the poor man who's rich in his heart. Click a button, click a like, so more people like you can appreciate this type of content. We respect you guys.
Super chats.
Super chats. We're going to answer that at the end. Thank you, Natalia. We love it. But smash the like button. We appreciate you for being here. Let's talk about Tate. Okay, we just brought his name up. We talked about when we're going to potentially do something with Tate. I don't know. We can't reveal, but we'll see. Dee-1 is not familiar with Andrew Tate, which I absolutely love, and I appreciate the newbiness over here. But you did bring up the fact that you know who Kevin Samuels is.
For sure, I got a song called Kevin Samuels,
which is amazing.
Definitely
okay, and you just learning about who Rollo is.
Yeah,
because he's sort of the godfather of the red pill space. He wrote a book called The Rational Male. Rollo, his mindset, his work has definitely been used and put out there into the universe for I would say good things, controversial things at times. Kevin Samuels definitely rest in peace, but no doubt the person who's picked up Kevin Samuels' mantle is this man right here, Andrew Tate. Okay, and he says some things that are kind of deemed controversial. Okay, and I know you've never heard of him, but you've heard of Kevin Samuels. Sterling, you've done tons of content with Andrew Tate. He's a friend of yours.
He's a personal friend of mine.
He's a friend of yours. Yeah. And obviously you're in the red pill space. You're very familiar with what's going on here. He's been on Fresh and Fit multiple times. Shout out to Myron. Shout out to Fresh. Our guys down there in Miami, half hour south from here. But Andrew Tate is dealing with something right now. And he's dealing with cancel culture. And he has been full on canceled.
Back to back. Everything.
Back to back. All right. Hey, Andrew Tate just got canceled by Instagram. Oh, shit. Meta, too. All right. Facebook. YouTube canceled. No, TikTok. Oh.
Done.
Canceled. Okay. So, Andrew Tate, I think anyone who's watching this show, for the most part, understands who he is and what he's bringing to the marketplace. And let me read you some of the phrases and terminology and the words that he has spoken, his words, in his quote-unquote goodbye message, his final message that he recently put out there into the atmosphere after being banned from all these different types of platforms, okay? So he's a men's rights activist. I think is that a fair way to label him, Sterling,
Absolutely.
as a friend?
It's a very, very accurate way of labeling him.
Okay.
Andrew.
And he's basically saying, listen, I can be a men's rights activist without hating women. You can walk and chew gum at the same time. So here are some of his words. He says, I love and protect women, and I would never let a woman pay for a bill. I think we're all on the same page with that, especially on a date, okay? Women are not as calm. He said this, women, so some of the heat that he takes is women that aren't as calm as men under stress, but they can't fight like men, and but they're better at taking care of children. I think he's used the analogy that if he dropped off his kids at an all-men daycare, he'd probably have a problem with that, okay? And I don't think that's a controversial topic, okay? I'd also be creeped out if I dropped off my 5-year-old kid and it was all a bunch of men like, we got little Jimmy. It's
we got him.
It's like, we're going to go find. All right, so men and women do different things. He goes on to say that men and women have different roles in society, but when we work together as a team and love each other, society is better as a whole. Respect. It's kind of what you talk about on the Poor Men's Podcast. This isn't controversial. He says these were mainstream views only a few decades ago, and now it's controversial somehow. I don't think it's controversial. Just because I support men doesn't mean I hate women. This show, 95% of our audience are men. We love women. We just spent an entire half hour talking about the things we love about women, what we want them to bring to the table. None of them was to be the man and to be masculine. I'm sorry, okay? And a lot of it was not what we need from you and your financial decisions, okay? We can kind of handle that, especially as high-value men. Last but not least, he says that people look up to him because I don't just tell them what to do, I show them my lifestyle and they want to be like me. Okay, the last person that wanted to be like me was like Mike. We all know the Gatorade song. But a lot of young men are looking at Andrew Tate as like, this guy's kind of got it going on. He's a 4-time kickboxing champion of the world, whatever it is. The guy's clearly a multimillionaire, driving all sorts of sports cars, hanging with all sorts of beautiful women. Oh, and P.S., he's crushing it on social media. Just the kind of icing on the cake, because there's a lot of millionaires and billionaires out there that don't have his swag and don't have his presence and don't have basically the clout that he's been able to attain. And the problem is these days, cancel culture has come for him, okay? And for me, this is a personal issue because, and I'm going to open this up there. You know, during COVID, I was in Florida, and our governor here, Ron DeSantis, kept Florida open. He's taking a lot of heat from it, but the people in Florida, for the most part, he's going to get reelected, okay? Newsflash. Okay? In Texas, I spent a lot of time in Texas with Patrick Bet-David. Texas was kind of open, but there's a lot of states that weren't open. But when it's kind of out of sight, out of mind, you know, I have friends in New York or California that were like, I can't fucking take this, it's crazy. And I'm like, hey man, just kind of got to deal with it, bro. I'm down here in Florida, like, good luck. But you know the story where it's like the story during World War II where it's like they came for the gypsies and I wasn't a gypsy, so I didn't speak out. Mm-hmm. They came for the Jews, but I wasn't a Jew, so I didn't speak out. They came for the blacks, but I wasn't black. Next thing you know, they came for me and there was no one there to speak out. So this is the problem that I have with Tate, and I'm using the COVID thing as an analogy. It's like I was in Florida. I can't really be the mask, the whole thing. It's like I wasn't there. We're content creators, all of us, okay? When you see a content creator for basically getting canceled for basically just giving his opinion, however controversial it is, that touches a chord with me. And I don't like to see anybody getting canceled for their opinions. You can talk shit all you want about them, say they're wrong, say they're idiots, say they're foolish, say they're misogynists, whatever it is. But silencing people doesn't work. Something tells me that the more that you silence a guy like this, the more they're going to talk about him. Yes. Okay? Oh, yeah. With that being said, Sterling, you're a personal friend of Andrew Tate. How are you processing everything that's happening right now with him being canceled and banned from every major social media platform?
You know, it's really quite painful to watch one of your close friends be slandered left, right, and center, to be misinterpreted, to be deliberately misinterpreted, to be deliberately taken out of context, to have his reputation dragged through the mud by people who've never met the man, people who've never spent quality time with him. And I know from my time with that man that everything they're saying is the complete opposite of who Andrew is. Like, Andrew is one of probably the most generous man I know. He has the biggest heart, and it's a thing most people on this planet will never get to see that side of him personally, because they just won't be hanging out with him. But he's so generous, he's so loyal, and all he's trying to do is inspire young men to wake up from the bullshit they have been fed.
The matrix that he considers them living in.
And exactly. the main reason he got cancelled, my theory of this is not because of the, you know, him saying things about women that are being taken out of context. It's not that. It's the fact that he called out all this COVID bullshit a long time ago, right? That footage of that is resurfacing again now. Him calling out that, him telling guys, you know, that the monetary system is screwing them over, inflation is screwing them over. You know, they're rigging elections and things like this. He's waking a lot of people up.
He's speaking truth to power, and the power doesn't like it.
Exactly. He's exposing a lot of the power systems that are in play right now that keep us slaves, that keep the average person a slave to the system, and that's why he's getting cancelled, because the powers that be don't want a guy like that convincing millions of young men to wake up.
But isn't that what you're doing? Do you think he's delivering the message in a way? Because honestly, I've seen short clips of it, and I've only seen bad short clips of him.
Yeah,
it's terrible.
But you've seen short clips.
Correct. But when I watched an interview of him, I was like, okay,
well, that's essentially the point. People are making and you've referenced this multiple times. I'm sure someone's going to clip something.
Yeah.
Sure something's going to clip something. That's why he did a whole hour-long final message, and so it couldn't be taken out of context.
Yeah.
The one thing I got to give him credit for, he was not playing the victim.
No.
He's not like, guys, I'm canceled, it's fucked up, they're doing this to me. He's like, I take full responsibility for what's happening. I don't have 1 ounce of disrespect for what Instagram's doing. I get it. They're getting a lot of complaints. I get it. I'm going to be a man about this. My whole thing is that man has to persevere and deal with the crap that a man has to deal with. It would be completely counterintuitive to play the victim at this point. Yeah. That's not his brand.
And that's very inspirational for all the young men watching too, is seeing a man like that taking full responsibility for something, even if objectively it actually isn't his fault and his responsibility. He is taking full responsibility for it because that's his attitude towards life in general. Everything in Andrew's life, he takes responsibility for. I've never seen a guy who works harder than that man.
Really?
It is freakish how hard, how smart Andrew is, and how hard he works.
Flip some images. I don't know if D1's maybe just
it shows though. It shows the dude just makes good content overall. I mean, regardless.
Yo, how can they cancel this, man? Like,
but before you speak, you've never heard of him. You've never even heard him speak.
Nah.
Okay. Does any of his images ring a bell?
Yeah,
let me see.
You recognize him at all?
Nah. He looked like
You must not be logging on to any social media.
You haven't been on TikTok for 6 months.
I kind of live in my own little bubble. I create my content. I service my audience, and I try to stay off.
Got it.
From what's going on.
Anyway, he's been everywhere. Okay. Like this terminology gets thrown around. You must be living under a rock. You must be living in your own bubble right now.
But
because you log onto social media, whether it's TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, he's popping up because he's gamed the system. He's also gamed the algorithm. That's kind of his business model as well.
So what's some of his quotables that people have said like, oh no?
Let's play a video.
Okay, I'll find one.
Okay, if one's even, you can go onto his Instagram.
Did you want to explain how he just dominated social media? Because you probably have some insight. I think it's an important part because it shows.
I have a little bit of insight. I mean, I don't want to give away too much of Andrew's sort of game plan because that's that's his business.
So it was strategic. It was strategic.
But like, what made him get canceled out of everybody in that community?
This is
that's what I was right.
Yeah, like out of everyone in the community,
you're not gonna. He's the tip of the spear.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, when you're more viral than anybody else. Like that's who's gonna get canceled.
The only person who I know who got canceled like across the board besides him was Donald Trump.
Exactly.
And I don't think Donald Trump should have got canceled across the board.
I agree with you.
Social media.
And I'm not a Donald
Trump supporter.
Exactly.
I didn't vote for him, but I don't think he should have got canceled from social media.
No, exactly.
We're on the same page. Exactly. I said when you start canceling the president of the United States,
come on, man.
What's the slippery slope message you get from there?
Yeah.
Anybody can get canceled there when you're canceling the ex-president of the United States.
He got the same treatment as Alex Jones as well. Alex Jones had this treatment as well.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, same treatment.
The difference between Alex Jones and an Andrew Tate, because he's been labeled the new Alex Jones.
Right.
The what Alex Jones did with the Sandy Hook shooting and the lies that he perpetrated were so wrong and morally corrupt that whether you're left, right, up, down, green, blue, people are just like, you gone too far, buddy. Yeah. And I agree with free speech.
I'm just referring. I'm referring to like him getting banned by like all the socials and payment processors and things.
That's crazy.
That's what I'm referring to.
Why do payment processors start intervening? Bingo. That's where it gets a little weird.
Is that what happened? The payment processors?
The dude had bank accounts closed. They were freezing his assets. It was crazy.
No, for Alex Jones.
Yes.
But for Tate as well.
That has happened to Andrew as well.
They're freezing his credit card processing and bank accounts.
Payment processors have rejected him. Yep, payment processors have canceled his accounts. Banks have canceled them. But these guys create new ones. Like these guys are a resilient team. They have a whole team of guys that help get around these issues. But it's like, think about that for a second. For everyone who doesn't think this is a big deal, if they don't like your opinions, they will take your bank account away.
That's crazy.
This is what we're dealing with.
Yeah, this is what happened in Canada with the truckers. You're familiar with this story?
That's why this is actually a very important fight for people to pay attention to. Because if you say something that the powers that be do not deem appropriate, do not deem in line with the narrative they want to portray, they're going to take away your bank account.
Especially if it's not divisive. Like, I'm all, whatever. I am black. People going to go for it. But what was happening in BLM was okay because it was more divisive. Now, regardless of what side you lay on that argument or whatever, it's definitely divisive. You could say that. But with the truckers in Canada, that was a situation where everybody was all in cahoots with each other. There were guys doing the right thing because they felt like something was unjust. And because of that fact, and it had something to do with the economy, they had to shut it down. BLM was allowed to do whatever they wanted to do for months and months on end, but nobody was shutting down their accounts. But when it comes to the people in Canada, because they're talking about the masks, when it comes to Andrew Tate, Alex Jones is there, whatever. Yeah. But it's because it's not divisive. Anytime it's divisive, they allow it to just go. They
Absolutely.
This is the problem.
Even with arguments on the right, anytime the people on the right come up with the argument that's divisive, they just let it fly.
This is the problem. This is how politics work, and this is how I think scales get tipped. The problem is, we all know that, this isn't a political podcast, but I'm going to get political for a second. We all know that 45% of people are voting left and 40 people are voting right, and basically 10% of the independents control the country. That's just how it works. Where the scales get tipped is when you say, as a Republican, yeah, I can't support what Donald Trump is doing. Okay. I can't support that. Whereas you as a Democrat say, yeah, Joe Biden's not doing a good job, buddy. I don't know what to tell you. Okay. Whereas me, as someone who has not been someone to maybe kind of put his foot in, saying, you can't cancel a guy like this. And is when your own team starts disagreeing with you. That's when people are like, this just doesn't make sense. Yeah. This just doesn't make sense. And again, I'm not a Donald Trump supporter. I fully think you should not ban the president of the United States. It sets a horrible precedent. It does. Precedent. Right, exactly.
Wordplay.
Exactly. See, as a rapper, you could appreciate that.
Right.
But yeah, there's nothing, I'm trying to get as like woke as possible as I say this. There's nothing I've heard him say that I think is cancelable.
Donald Trump? Okay. Not at all.
No, I'm talking about Tate.
What was the reason they canceled him? Yeah. What was the reason they took
this
Instagram
account? There was a video, this is my opinion.
I've seen the video, but the video has been online.
Yes.
What was the reason that they had to take away his current Instagram, and why did YouTube ban him?
I would love to know if there was a full-on reason.
Yeah. Why did all of these companies just work in cahoots? Nobody thinks that's a little odd.
Because they always work in cahoots.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But nobody thinks that's a little odd.
Yeah.
You know,
well, you think about all the, as far as maybe I'm wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure all the head offices of Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter are all within a few mile radius of each other in San Francisco.
They're all in Silicon Valley.
Yeah,
of course. They're on. You know that they're on a group chat.
Yeah.
Like, you know that they're on a group chat. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Think about it.
Yeah, like, I'm sure you, Tate, Fresh and Fit, Justin Waller are on a group chat because that's your squad. That's your crew. Yeah. Me, Pat, Mario, we're on a group chat. You know that the big tech companies, whoever's running Twitter these days, Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, whoever's running TikTok in America, like, you're on a group chat. What's up? Dinner this Tuesday night. Hey guys, I just canceled Andrew Tate. Whatever. Oh shit. What do you think? That's their squad.
Yeah. Yeah. And they don't care if you're black or white or Asian or whatever it may be. They're in it for the money. Yeah, and so they are all in competition, but they all probably have the same political agenda, I would imagine.
I think they do.
Go ahead. But if they're in competition, wouldn't one want to keep them because they would get all of the views?
Well, one has Rumble.
And also a part
but
of that,
all the Rumble and Parler and these are like the B. This is the B squad.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the B squad.
Look, this is I'm not going to sit here and pretend I'm privy to Andrew's entire plan, but we have currently just gone through part 1 of a 3-part plan that Andrew has.
Well, according to his video,
that was literally part 1. So. When you have Andrew's literally the most Googled man on the planet right now. That's literally the most Googled man on the planet.
What is it, Donald Trump and Kim
I'm living on the rock, baby. Which I think is so genuine. I love that.
Yeah. But I think one of the most powerful things that Andrew is trying to do right now, and if he pulls it off, this will be game changing, is because he has the public's attention right now. He has now moved his social media presence onto Rumble and Getter. Rumble and Getter, right? If Andrew can move giant swathes of the population onto these platforms, well, that breaks up the monopoly that all these big social media companies have. If you can actually cause a really significant shift, that's powerful.
I agree with you.
But why wouldn't a big company want that, though? Like, why wouldn't a big company want that?
Because they're all in this cooch. Well, like all of them, they all have the same ideology, and the ideology is not.
But they're in competition too, no?
But their ideology is not based around free speech.
Yeah,
it fundamentally isn't based around free speech.
So my question is this: by me having never seen a piece of his content and seeing that he got unanimously canceled from every social media platform, the major ones, what is the greater agenda here? Was it that his content was speaking about a lot of the same stuff we're speaking about in terms of like masculinity and so that means that what we are saying, and for everyone watching this, is that the greater agenda that's clearly at play here, even if it's not being spoken, is that there's this dynamic shift to where women are being like pushed up by the powers that be to become the dominant forces in society, the leaders of relationships, the leaders in in every sense of the word when you talk about hierarchies and families, and that should scare all of us. Yeah. Because if you're a Christian like me, that's unbiblical. You know what I mean? So you're sitting here like, whoa, that's not what's up. You know what I mean? Even if you're not a Christian, just in general, there are so many holes in whatever argument women try to have to say, well, hey, we should be the leaders of society because of this, or we should be the breadwinners inside a family because of this. There's so many holes in that argument because it's like we want to be leaders with an asterisk next to it, except for in all of these different ways. So it's not real leadership. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That should scare people to the point where I think that the word feminist, ultimately, that should scare people.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's the word that should scare people instead of like these views. So basically, we've reached a point in society where the word traditionalist scares people.
Yeah.
But the word feminist doesn't scare people.
Well, and they say they're for equality, but the name in and of itself is inherently biased.
There you go.
Feminism.
Yeah.
There you go.
That says it there. But people don't pay attention to the financial incentive that they have for this kind of stuff. There's a reason why you want to prop women up over men, especially if you're a big social media company and women are threatening to not use your social media if this guy isn't gone. It's because women buy things. So like 65% of all the consumer debt, women. When you look at I actually just looked at a study a couple days ago that shows that women are 2 times more responsive to ads shown to them on social media. So they're the ones making all the purchases. So what you have to do is pander to women and tell them that they're right all of the time. Happy, happy, happy. So they keep giving you money. So there's a huge financial incentive for a lot of this stuff. Like you look at feminism and wanting women into the workplace. Who benefits from that? You got women going into the workplace. That means that's going to stagnate. That's going to stagnate wages because there are more workers. Anything there's more of, it tends to be worth less.
Yes,
right.
Of course.
So you have that factor, but then you also have 2 times the people that you can tax.
Bingo.
So there's a huge financial incentive, and companies, by and large, have always kind of judged up the pop culture in order for long financial gain. Like at Cosmopolitan, the leading journalist of Cosmopolitan literally came out and said word for word verbatim that she was a propagandist. She was paid in the 90s when Cosmopolitan was the most influential magazine for women. She was paid to lie about facts, data, and statistics to promote a more Sex in the City lifestyle. You can literally look that up. Yeah. And it's because it sold more magazines and it made women buy more things that were in the magazines. So the same party going on with the social media stuff.
Trey, you hit the nail on the head, bro. And anytime that there's like a, CSI, cold case, whatever, it's like, what's the motivation? And in America today, FTM. Yeah. Follow the money, baby.
Yeah, it's
okay. What's happening right here? Why are people getting canceled? Yeah. What's the agenda? What's going on right here? You talk about corporatism and they want women in the workplace. That's why so many corporations are basically saying, we'll pay for you to have an abortion. Oh, your state outlawed it? We'll pay for you to go to another state. Right. Oh, we'll talk about incentive packages and perks. Freeze your eggs, girl. We'll pay for that. All good. We want you working, girl. We want more women working. Yeah. Okay. And then the more that men are pushed down in society, who the hell's going to fight back? Traditionally, it's the men that fight back when, hey, I don't like this. Cancel them. Put a muzzle on them. Ban, shadow ban. So that's exactly what's happening right now.
We're in like a situation where people forget that these companies have no loyalty. They're like to a place. When back in the day,
their loyalty is the green.
When Rothschild had a factory in Detroit, he was going out taking pictures with people, handing out dimes because he wanted a good public, image of himself, because he cared about those people and he wanted them to like him because those are the people working in his factories. With globalization, these factories are all the way somewhere, who cares? And these people, they have no loyalty to the places that they practice business in. So they can extract all the resources by funding all this propaganda. When you got women in the workforce, now nobody's home to cook, so now we're more likely to eat McDonald's.
Let's get our men fat and lazy, and let's get our women paid, and let's see how society changes.
So when you see all of this happening and it's completely obvious, but nobody's doing anything about it, you got to look for the money. That's the only thing that makes sense.
FTM.
Like, fundamentally, what's Andrew's message, right? To men is be capable, be strong, both physically and mentally.
Yeah.
Right. brotherhood, find like a band of brothers to work together, to grind together, to achieve success.
Yep.
That simple message is somehow dangerous.
And be tenacious.
Right.
Have tenacity. Exactly.
To not get bullied around.
Like not get bullied around.
Right. I mean, you look at Andrew's response is perfect to it. He ain't letting himself get bullied. Right. And that should kind of scare people when you see that, okay, a message as positive as that is considered controversial, bannable. What does that tell you? That tells you that the powers that be don't want men to be strong and competent and capable and able to think independently.
Dang.
They want you to be a slave. They want you to be plugged into the system, be a good little sheep, do exactly what you're told, wear the mask, take the jab, do this, do that.
And I'm in the music industry. I'm a rapper. So when I think about even hip hop and I think about the female artists that get promoted and they get like shoved to the forefront of the mainstream nowadays, it's the women who promote this. I run this. I'm, you know what I'm saying? Like instead of it being like, oh, this dude had sex with me or something, it's no, I had it with him and his boy the next day and whatever. It's almost like I wear the pants, I do this. And
Cardi B,
Megan Thee Stallion,
City Girls.
There you go, bro.
Yeah.
There you go. Literally. Shoot, Nicki Minaj, throw her in there. Like, and the thing is, the people who are consuming this and eating this up don't realize Megan Thee Stallion is in a committed relationship. Nicki Minaj is married. Beyonce talk all this independent to the left. Guess what? Jay-Z cheated on you. You still with him. You know what I mean? Like, y'all still together. You married. It's like they're promoting this and they make this music that reaches all these women and fills their mind up with, I don't need no man. First time a dude act up, I'm going to kick him, to the curb and da-da-da. And these women aren't even living that. You know what I mean? Megan Thee Stallion promoting Hot Girl Summer. Meanwhile, she's wifed up with a dude. You know what I mean? Like, she ain't living no Hot Girl Summer. And it's sad because I see it in the music industry. I see it in the culture. It creates this masculine, aggressive type of woman, like these fans that are consuming this. They go out here and they're like, we're gonna go pull some dudes today. We're gonna go fly out to Miami and go find which dudes we want, and we're gonna have our way with them. And it leads to these women who are like playing these games, and they're just not soft anymore. They're not submissive anymore. You know what I mean? Even their definition of sexy, my thing is like, if you're too like aggressive and too like that's not even a turn on to me. You know what I mean? I want to feel like a lion. I want to feel like the man who can go and attack and be the one that's pursuing you. These women who just, bro, they just got life effed up right now, man.
I guess here's the question, and this is such a powerful conversation we're having right now. What's worse for society? That's the question. A strong masculine man like Andrew Tate saying, guys, don't get pushed around. Don't take no for an answer. You got to be tenacious. You got to make something from your life. Calling out losers. He calls out people that hang out with, if you're becoming a loser, your network is your net worth. Men, you need to step up. And if you do step up and if you do create this life for yourself and you do become a high value man, yes, maybe you can have multiple women. Okay? That's the controversial part, but mostly empowering men or women. Female rappers saying, fuck everybody you want, get the bag, you don't need no man. Just toxic advice for women that goes counterintuitive to what women have always known.
So cancel both of them. If you're going to cancel one, cancel the other.
Jackpot. I don't think any of them should be canceled.
Cancel none.
What's worse for society, though?
It's deliberately divisive.
Yeah.
It's deliberately trying to divide men and women and make them combative instead of complementary to each other. It's like once you just step back and like open your eyes a little bit, it's so obvious. Because a population that's divided is easier to control.
Yes.
Like if America is unfortunate, and I've had this experience traveling through Eastern Europe. Like Eastern European countries are very stable, safe places that are basically on the same page. The whole country, to a degree, obviously you have left and right politics, but there's a sense of pride, in being Polish. There's a sense of pride in being Romanian for Romanians. They look after their own, right? Poles look after Poles. Romanians look after Romanians.
Yes.
Americans are so divided, and it's a shame because I love this country, but just seeing how at each other's throats they are, and especially how at each other's throats now men and women are, it's real tragedy. But that it's important to understand that's done deliberately. It's done deliberately. So if a population is too focused on the drama back and forth, whose dick Cardi B sucked this week, or whatever Will Smith did this week. When the population is focused on bullshit like that, then you can just sweep in a whole bunch of legislation under the rug that allows inflation to
They want you dumb, fat, and lazy, and sitting watching Netflix. They don't want you being in tune with what's actually happening.
Crazy. Go ahead.
I'm done.
No, but it's crazy because throughout human history, there's always been people that have been kings, conquerors, bigots, whatever. Dictators, whatever you want to call them. They've been born and they said, we're going to go north and kill everybody in that direction for no apparent reason, just because they have the desire to conquer.
Yes.
Those people still exist. They just own tech companies. Those people still exist. And people forget. But now they have the technology to actually complete their mission. Before, when you had Genghis Khan on horseback, who never lost a single actual war until he died, he's only limited to what he can do. Hitler tried to take over the world with the country the size of Dakota, and he actually almost did it if it wasn't for America kind of stepping in and helping a little bit. So now you got these new people that still want to conquer the world. They just have a different way to do it, and they have a technological advantage to actually do it. And while people are talking about what bathroom we can go in, there are people making decisions that are going to dictate the direction that humanity goes in forever. Yes. When you talk about artificial intelligence, when you talk about all these, it literally just brings chills to me when I think about this stuff that people aren't even aware of, the direction that we're going. When we talk about either we're going to be a part of this machine thing in terms of technology or away from it, there are people making that decision right now while we're just distracted.
I think another really important thing to focus on is a lot of the blowback that mainstream media throws at Andrew is that his message is resonating with young boys.
Yes. He's waking them up.
He's waking up young men who are in school, right? The powers that be do not want men to wake up. They want young boys to start thinking for themselves. Because then they might actually become competent and useful.
We just had a whole generation of young men that were just going to kind of sit around and listen to whatever we put on TikTok. Now there's this dude telling them, no, don't follow what the women are telling you to do. Do something different.
They were going to live in the metaverse. They were going to eat bugs. They were going to live in a pod. And then Andrew came along and threw a spanner in the works. And now they're not going to live that way. They've seen a lifestyle that they want to emulate.
So being solution oriented, what I'm thinking is instantly, okay, and Andrew Tate gets canceled, but I think what we have to do as men, we may not all agree on every single detail of what masculinity looks like moving forward or having multiple wives and all that type of stuff. But by and large, the stuff that we do agree on, I think that we need to just make sure that we stay unified and stay pushing that narrative to people so that new generation of young men that are coming up can still say, hey, one thing that I can tell that most of the men I looked up to, whether it was an athlete or a rapper or a podcaster or whoever it was, most men were unified around what it meant to be masculine and what it meant to behave like a man, think like a man. And that's what I think we need to unify behind moving forward. Because as I think about this new generation, I think that the LGBTQ community often gets called bullies, right? Because it's like, oh, they get together and they could cancel this. But I call them just being unified. And I think if there's anything you can pull from seeing that, I often talk about how in hip-hop, people don't play. They don't use the F word in hip-hop anymore, and I'm not talking about F-U-C-K. I'm talking about the other F word, referring to gays. They don't use that word anymore. Why? Because they know, that community does not play. You say that word and see if you have a career tomorrow. You know what I mean? With women want to talk all this unification stuff, but at the end of the day, they can't even unify enough behind, are we tired of getting disrespected in hip-hop, or are we ready to twerk to that same music tonight? You know what I mean? Yeah. And the fact that women can't even unify behind that, I think that it shows where there's unification, there's power. We see the powers that be with the social media platforms. They're choosing to unify to push a certain agenda. So it's important, big shout out to this podcast and to any other platform to where, I'm seeing that I never watched porn in my life before. Me and my bro hadn't met before today. I know you from some financial literacy stuff, but I'm seeing that we're unified behind the idea of masculinity to a large degree, even if the details are slightly different. And that's important that we keep that unification moving forward.
That's why they had to get rid of him, because that's what he was doing. He was putting men together into a hive mind where we could have our own thoughts. Gotcha. And when you talk to other men, you tend to get a little red pilled because that's just what it is organically.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we were in a situation where guys were giving their message, and of course you want to destroy that, because when you have strong moral men, you have men that are capable of getting women. Once you have men that are capable of getting women, those men are going to imprint those ideals on those women, and then those women are going to then turn and imprint those ideals on children. Yep. So what you need to do is tell the woman to go work, get rid of her, guys go into slave, and then you take the kids from right underneath them, you indoctrinate them with there's no such thing as gender stuff, and so now they're just going to be sedated on drugs, alcohol, and they're not going to understand any parts of life, but they're going to spend a lot of money on, Lululemon leggings. So whatever.
Well, it's not. I mean, it might work to an extent, but it doesn't work long term because of conversations like this. And again, if it doesn't make sense, people aren't going to go along with it. People people can waver. I'm not saying politically, but there's that like. Once enough people are like, yeah, this, I just don't get it. Like, I don't get, like the bathrooms, like, this doesn't add up. Let me wrap up with using Tate's quote for this segment. We'll move on to our last segment. Just his words: men and women have different roles in society, but when we work together as a team and love each other, society is better as a whole. Respect. Who's going to disagree with that?
What's wrong with that?
Nothing wrong with that.
Cool. We're going to get to the super chats at the end. But let's end on this story right here. Tate, if you see this, we're thinking of you, buddy, and hopefully you're back on social media soon. In other news, this isn't so much political, but it's a financial story, but we're going to touch on this, and Dee-1 is the man to speak to on this topic. I'm not sure if you're familiar with what Joe Biden has just done with the student loan debt, but basically... here's everything you need to know about Joe Biden's student loan forgiveness plan, which just went into law. And you're going to understand why Dee-1 is the perfect person to talk about this. And we'll talk about how we met at a financial literacy conference where Dee-1 was the keynote speaker / rapper. So basically, here's what's in this new student loan forgiveness plan and who it will help. So $10,000 will be erased if you did not receive a Pell Grant. A Pell Grant is basically for lower income people of society. $10,000 cut off, you're done. You don't owe that any longer. $20,000 if you did receive Pell Grants. So basically, this is essentially addressing income inequality in America. The poorer you are, the more money they're going to give you, and the more money they're going to erase. Some technicalities here. Forgiveness only applies to those earning less than $125,000, which is basically 80% of America. Okay. And the student loan pause, which has been basically in effect since COVID, is being extended one final time, quote unquote, because you never know, they could change it again. But the student having to pay your student loans federal student loans is being paused until the end of the year, until December 31st, 2022. So here's the deal. Here's the bottom line. People are saying, all right, what's the freaking bottom line here? 20 million Americans just went from having student loans to now having a zero balance.
Wow.
20 million Americans. 43 million Americans overall will now qualify in some way. So 20 million Americans, had student loan debt, and now they got nothing. Zero. Okay? $10,000 to $20,000 erased. 43 million now owe significantly less. Okay? So there's been so many people that have been obviously Googling this and trying to get on top of this, that the entire federal student loan government website has officially crashed. I don't know if it's up yet, but as the time that we filmed the podcast, it has crashed. So obviously some people are going to be freaking pissed. Okay, who's pissed? People that paid back their student loans. Yeah.
Right.
Maybe people that wrote songs about paying back their student loans. People that didn't go to college because they didn't have the money and they didn't want to take out the loans. And how about just the general taxpayer who's like, come on, bruh, I'm getting crushed over here.
Who now has the bill?
Yeah.
What's that?
You got to put
the American taxpayer.
The general taxpayer now is lumped with that entire bill.
Obviously, people are pissed.
I have a question, though.
Go.
Okay. The question was, so does this apply for just the people now, or does it apply for people that are going to school next year? Because school's about to
good question.
Get back and moving. Does that apply for them?
That's probably the reason that the website is crashing, because they're like, I haven't even enrolled yet. Right. That's a great question. It's like, I'm about to take out student loans, so now because I'm 17 rather than 18 or 19 or I'm in school right now. A lot of questions to be answered. Some people are going to think it's fair and it's a Life Raft, and some people are going to be like, this is completely unfair. By the way, after mortgages, and I don't know how much mortgages are, there's probably $10 trillion in mortgages. Student loan debt is the number 2 highest amount of debt in America. 1.6 trillion. After that is auto loans in the trillion, and 3 trillion. And then credit card debt is approaching $1 trillion. So the reason that we have the perfect person to talk about this, because someone here named Dee-1 had a hit song called Sally Mae Back, which basically he talked about paying Sally Mae back.
Yes.
Okay, not driving a Maybach.
Oh, that's a good play on words.
But I finished paying Sally Mae back.
Exactly.
Yes.
So the track received critical acclaim. It was on all the mainstream outlets. ESPN, I think, did an interview. CNN, Forbes magazine, The Washington Post called it the anthem of a generation.
Yeah.
Maybe we can watch this a little bit real quick, and we'll get Dee-1's thoughts on the student loan forgiveness on the other side. And this was in what?
2016.
2016.
Changed my life.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
So the track received critical. All the mainstream outlets, ESPN. Pause it for a second. We're hearing our voice and the video. So how can we just get?
Yeah, I got it. Mm-hmm.
In 2013, a non-refundable check for $125.
I'm finished. I finished.
For those who doubted me, yeah, this is payback. And I've been on my grizzy, since way back. No sir, and I don't drive a Maybach. But guess what I did?
I finished paying Sally Maybach. 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 Let me tell you what I've been through when it come to Sally. She call me at least twice a day, she want our money badly. Calling me from different numbers, ooh, she thinks she slick. But I got them all memorized, I hit ignore quick. Needed tuition, needed room and board. Had to pay for books, so I took out loans to feed the boy. Graduated, wasn't making quite enough to pay him back. Went in default, messed my credit up, check my Equifax. I ain't proud of that, I'm more proud of that. I ain't drowning that. I got 2 jobs, really got on my grind. No time to whine, I can't ride the pine. In the game right now, my time to shine. Started paying them loans back one at a time. Got them down, till I paid them all off. Peace sign.
For those who doubted me, yeah, this is payback. And I've been on my grizzy, since way back. No sir, and I don't drive a Maybach. But guess what I did?
I finished paying Sally Maybach. I finished paying.
Yeah.
Bro, you killed that thing.
Yeah.
I mean, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Shout out to Dee-1.
Bro.
Shout out to FinCon. That was basically where we met.
That's
He was
where
the
we met.
keynote speaker.
Yeah.
He performed that song. That's 2017. That was right after the year that you had.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
brother, how you feeling knowing that songs that changed your life?
Yes.
And now with the breaking news that basically 20 million Americans are gone down to a zero balance, and you paid Sally Mae back.
I literally did, man. So I know that feeling that 20 million people feel right now, being like, wait, my student loan debt is gone? Like, bro, I have goosebumps right now just saying it, because I remember the day I got that email saying that my whole loan was paid off, and I was like, yo, like, this, I've never felt like this before. Like, I feel amazing right now. So that feeling right there is kind of the new American dream in a lot of ways. And it's sad to say, but the new American dream is getting out of student loan debt for a lot of us.
Or just becoming debt free.
Debt-free.
You guys can speak of this. Slavery these days is just being enslaved by institutions, whether that's financial institutions or tech institutions, putting a muzzle over your mouth or being chained to a student loan debt.
So it was crazy. I signed a record deal, and when I signed a record deal, I got a big advance. You know, you get a big check. At the time, it was the biggest check I had ever seen in my life. And the first thing I instantly thought of, thankfully, was not to go buy a bunch of jewelry or go buy a bunch of cars. It was to pay all my student loans off.
How sick is that, guys?
So I used the chunk of my advance to pay off Sally Mae and finish paying my student loans off. And then, for those who don't know the backstory, after I paid the loan off, I made that song Sally Mae Back. I'm signed to RCA Records at the time, right? Big record label in New York City. I make this song and I go fly up there and play the song for him. I'm like, yo, Y'all, no rapper has ever made a song about paying off their student loans before. I just paid them off. Like, this is going to be amazing. I guarantee you it's going to captivate millions of people. They didn't believe me. They were like, oh, this is corny. Nobody's trying to hear somebody rapping about student loan debt. So they hated the song. They said, we're not pushing it. I took my own money. We shot that video back in New Orleans. I put it out on my own. And when that song started going viral and getting millions and millions of views, not only did it lead to a bunch of press, it eventually led to an actual partnership with Sally Mae. So
how cool
I went from having to pay Sally Mae back to Sally Mae paying me. Damn. And we had a multi-year partnership. Yeah. So that literally, I mean, honestly,
I just sent you a link.
That just I mean, just to be, you know, humble about it. Mm-hmm. That partnership, that's how I know that you know, God is real, is because, like what I was able to do with that song, and because of that song, it put me in a different financial situation than I would have ever been in prior to that. And I didn't try to, wow, what is this, bro?
I don't know if you ever even saw this, brother.
What the heck?
Okay, so I don't know if you could start the beginning. So you said you inspired people.
Yeah.
Okay, what year was this?
This was...
Bottom right, I should say it.
Just underneath
2018.
Okay, so 2018.
September.
We met in 2017. Okay.
Right.
So I became a quote-unquote millionaire in 2016, and that's when I started this show. Uh-huh. Do we have volume on this?
Yes.
Let me tell you how much you inspired me, brother. Go ahead. Student loan paid off in the amount of, what was that amount again? 10,000?
$10,282.99.
Don't forget that 99 cents, right? Not Sally Mae.
Completely paid off. So this calls for a celebration.
Oh, this calls for a celebration, all right.
Yeah.
We pay a Sally Mae back. Yo! You know about that song from Dee-1?
No. Sorry.
It's okay. I'll get with Dee-1 on that one. I'm here with Dee-1.
Save that money.
So boom, I paid off all my student loans, one check, 10 grand. I don't know, I probably owed 20 grand. And then this is the type of stuff that you're doing for society. So people out there with student loans, it's a lot of opinions out there, but nothing feels better than actually working your ass off, paying your dues, making money, and paying off what you owe. Yes, people want free money these days. Of course, who doesn't want the government paying for the goddamn student loans? But that's accomplishing something. What I was able to accomplish, what you were able to accomplish, you had to grind it out, and I had to cut a check for 10 grand. You had to become a rapper to get that money to cut that check.
I had to cut that check.
If you're just taking, you know, the easy way out, God bless.
Facts. And you have to prioritize. You have to know your wants versus your needs. You know what I mean? I had to sacrifice some things. You know, I had my whole city like, bro, you just signed a big record deal. What new car are you gonna buy? And when I pulled back up in New Orleans in a 1998 Honda Accord, they're like, wait, what happened? Like, where's the new car at? You know, they're like, where's the new jewelry at? And I'm like, nah, you might not see it in my car and in my jewelry, but I owe Sally Mae zero at this point. I paid them off, and that right there makes it to where my income that I'm making doesn't have to get dispersed with that high interest rate on top of it. You know what I mean? So yeah, bro, just reprioritizing. That's been a big reason why I became a rapper, is to redefine what success looks like. Being debt free, that's the definition of success.
Respect. You have any quick thoughts on this before we wrap up?
With the
with Sally Mae and everything, and
I personally, as far as the video, fire, the music, fire. But if you're talking about just the student loan debt in general, I mean, come on, man. I think it's a get out of jail free card for people who are already financially in a position to be able to go to college in the first place. I don't think it affects the lower class how they want it to, because most of the people that go to college are already middle class. Yeah. So you know, and like Sterling said, the bill was just passed. Now I got to pay the bill.
Yeah.
I'm paying Sally Mae back again. So it's just, it is what it is.
We need another song.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but it is what it is. People got free money and people are happy about it. I understand why they would be happy about it, but I don't think that they understood that it was probably just a political play because Joe Biden's throwing things at the wall. He's let's stop it. He's Joe Biden. But he just needed a way to get some votes. He thought, how can I inspire the youth? Let's just give them money. So, ain't that the way we solve every problem nowadays?
Of course.
I think that's kind of like that people should be kind of insulted by it. That Joe would be like, all right, I can just throw money at them and they'll give me a vote. Like, are you really that easy to buy?
I mean,
really?
It's like strip culture. You know what I mean? It's stripper culture. I can throw money at them and, and they'll just... They'll be like, oh, I'm gonna entertain you. I'm loyal to you because that's where the money is coming from. It just shows that you throw money at most Americans and it's just like, oh yeah, I don't care what you stand for or whatever. You throwing money at me, I'm loyal to you.
You're my man.
Yeah. And we're all strippers now, I guess.
But the thing is, like, anytime there's money involved, you gotta pay attention to what's on the other end of it. Hey, people ain't gonna just give you money ever. Anytime you see anything where you're getting free money, there's always some other
such thing as
agenda.
a free lunch. Wherever this money ends up, I think it's $300 billion. That because they didn't cancel the full 1.2 trillion or 1.5 trillion. It's a specific amount. But not to get all political, he did run on this message about canceling $10,000.
That's why he did it. Is he wants to say, hey, I didn't break my promise because I ran on this as one of my campaign items that was at the top of the list. Like, yo, I'm gonna cancel some student loan debt. So now he's like, hey, just make sure y'all know that I'm a president that was a man of my word. And I think that's a big reason why. And as I keep looking at Sterling, bro, isn't it true that like in Europe, they don't even have student loans, huh?
I don't know about the education system in Europe. I know in Australia, like the way they do it in Australia is like you don't pay anything up front. It's a at the time I went to university, there's no interest on the loan. And it sits there, and then once you make over a certain amount per year, then they deduct a little bit from your pay every check.
We need to take notes, bro. We need to be taking notes.
That's how they do it in Australia. And oddly enough, it's only on income that you make within Australia. So every penny I make in America, they don't see.
Oh, that's amazing!
Wow. Anyway, so this is. I mean, controversial topic. Is it good? Is it bad? A lot of people are going to be appreciative of this. Some people are going to be pissed about this.
I think,
but it's a happy day in America for a lot of people, for 20 million people. Apparently.
I think it's going to piss off a lot of people because there's a whole bunch of people who got degree or signed up for degrees they shouldn't have signed up for, like a gender studies degree, for example.
Yes.
They were never going to be able to pay the debt off anyway.
Yes.
They were, and now they're absolved of that shitty decision. I think that's going to piss a lot of people off.
Lack of accountability.
Yes.
Well, massive lack of accountability there, right?
Tough thing. Anyways, let's end on a happy note. This is the part of the show which we call the happy ending, right? You can appreciate that. So basically, we're at the end of the show. By the way, do you want to do it before we get to the happy ending? Do we have any super chats? Because
we do have some super chats.
Okay, go super chats. Do your little message for the world, Natalia.
Let's do it.
And then we'll have everybody give their final thoughts and the happy ending.
Cool. We have Aram Kirk, $5. Thank you. What are your advice for a divorced 44-year-old man that has a girlfriend that does everything that you guys mentioned, but her body count is high? Oh, that's a good one.
By the way, save that question for the show that we're going to be doing on Fridays.
Okay.
Wow. In a couple weeks, we're launching a Q&A show. So read the comments because we don't have time to answer all the questions. Save your questions. The lovely Natalia Del Valle is sitting over there, and your boy Adam Sauce are going to do a Friday show answering all your questions. So let's get the panel out of here. I'm sure people got to use the restroom. We've been doing this for a little over 2 hours. So read the rest of the comments and we'll get some final thoughts.
Then we have a Viking paragram, Resist the Slave Mind from Andrew Tate. Then we have another one, Andrew Tate should run for president. This will drive the whole establishment nuts. Then we have another one that says, thoughts on the quote, right person, wrong time. And then the last one from Zetens, $50. Thank you. There was a uniformity in what masculinity was, because fathers forged their sons into men and thus pass onto mantle of the man, with understanding of the burden and responsibility those men must bear from manhood until death. Iron sharpens iron.
Awesome. Who was that person?
And that was Zen Tenants, $50.
Thank you, Zen. Respect.
Zen.
Last message, Natalia?
Last message. I think we had a really good podcast today. I think it was really good to get different perspectives. Also to get, Dee-1's like first take, and you can kind of see just like, I think today we were able to show, everybody that naturally a man's mind goes to these things. And even though I think Andrew Tate was canceled because of maybe how he was delivering the message, because I tell my girlfriends this: if you listen carefully and you don't get offended, you can catch you a man you want. So just be mindful and don't get so offended because they're talking like this and the short clips are here, because if you listen to the morals and things that men really want, it's really what women want to do. So, I think today was a really good podcast to get 4 different men in different areas of their life. Some were raised similar. But how you guys all can come together and have this agreement when it comes to, these topics, especially when somebody's so known like Andrew Tate, who is essentially, promoting good in the world, but maybe he wasn't delivering it the way that the world liked it. You guys came together and were able to do it, I would say, in the way women like it, because I personally agree with what you guys are saying, and I'm on the bandwagon, I guess you could say.
There she is.
So aside from that, I had a really great time today. So thank you guys.
And now, if you didn't like anything that all these 3 gentlemen had to say today, or your boy Sauce had to say, give a like for what Natalia just had to say. Are you kidding me?
Go team.
Beautiful, intelligent, personable, and look at that smile.
Yes.
And it's real.
It's
Boom.
real teeth. Here.
Real
no
teeth,
veneers.
real hair, real fingernail.
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
we won't go there. Anyway, guys, this is what we call the happy ending, and this is where we want to hear the final thoughts for our prestigious guests right here. You've got a camera. You've got a bunch of people watching. How many people live right now?
We've got over 1,300
we got
watching.
we got over
Sterling,
1,000
don't
people.
get too excited with the camera. He said camera.
It's natural. It's natural.
Okay. With that being said, you've got a camera, a bunch of people watching. What do you want people to take away from you, and what do you want to be known for? What's your message? Go ahead. The Porn Man's Podcast. By the way, make sure that his description, all these YouTube descriptions are below. Subscribe, support our people on the channel, and they will support you with content. Trey, the Porn Man's Podcast. What would you like to say?
I guess if I just had to say like one thing that I wanted people to take away is I think that strong families build strong communities. Strong communities, strong states, strong country. So everybody is in this together, regardless of what you believe politically or whatever it may be. We are all Americans, or I guess you probably have an international audience.
Yeah,
but
we're
either way,
American.
we're in America, and it's all about unity. So we
Yes.
we need that synergy in order to move forward. And let's not make it easy on these people, right? If they want to take over, if they want to try to get us all in the metaverse, if they want to try to let's not make it easy for them. So strong families, better off financially, strong state, strong country.
Respect. Sterling.
Beautiful. Look, I'd say that my message in general for men is that you can have control over your life, right? Because with the stuff that I teach, having control over your manhood, having control over the bedroom,
Your
right?
literal manhood.
Literal manhood,
yes.
right? Like for me, it's actually a metaphor for having control over your entire life. I think once a guy realizes he can control one of the most intimate parts of his body and his life, he sort of realizes, well, like, hang on, what else can I take control over? I can take control of my weight. I can take control of my finances. I can take control of my relationships. And I think all these things tie in together. And I think one of the really interesting things about this podcast, right? We've got 2 Christians, other side of me, right? I am not a Christian, in case people hadn't guessed that. But like we don't fundamentally disagree on a lot.
Yeah.
Like we fundamentally agree on like what we want from women, what we want for society, what we want for our families, strong role models, strong men, like our definitions of masculinity. And I think that, like you'd said, is really interesting for people to see.
Right.
When I like to, it's like the idea of converging knowledge, right? When you see people from completely different backgrounds coming together to the same conclusion, like overlapping, okay, maybe 80% of what we say is a little bit different, but there's that 10-20% which is exactly the same message. That's when you know you're getting to the truth.
Yeah.
Real truth is when you see this converging knowledge. So I think that's a really beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Respect. Thank you for that. Dee-1.
Yes.
Man, I guess what I would leave everyone with is this. I live a very blessed life. You know, I do well financially. I get to use my gifts and talents to rap and do public speaking and make music that's a blessing to people, go all over the world. I'm well liked, well respected. About to start going to Harvard in a week. Always on tour and all this type of stuff. And my faith in God is really like what has led to this blessed life, because I also know my worth. And when we're talking on this podcast today about how society tries to minimize us and make us not be as valuable as we know we should be, it's never been hard for me to have a standard that I hold myself to, or that I hold any woman that I'm going to be with to, because I don't look any further than God's word. And I say, wow, whether someone is a Christian or not, like you said, for me, one thing it's helped to do is make my self-identity such that it's like, I know that I will be the head of whatever household I lead. And I know that I'm a king. I know that I'm just valuable, to the point where now that the trend is for women to try to maybe emasculate men, or to try to want to be higher or be competing with men, I'm just like, I'm bulletproof when it comes to that stuff, you know, and that confidence that I'm able to walk around with, and the blessings that I'm able to receive, you know, I do thank God for that. Just kind of like being able to cruise through life, really being comfortable in my own skin. And that's what I want for everyone who's watching this. Like, I want everyone to be able to feel like I don't have to be 6'3" with a certain set of muscles. I don't have to be from here. I don't have to be poor to act like I came from the trenches, you know, in order to be considered a real man. I don't have to shoot somebody or sell dope to be considered a real man. At the end of the day, like, just be comfortable in your own skin. And for me, my faith in God has made it to where it's like, I'm going to be comfortable wherever I go. And whoever that's not enough for, I know that they're not enough for me at that point. So I'm cool with saying, all right, I'll let you be somebody else's problem. Because me, I'm very comfortable with who I was made to be and how I'm living my life. So like I always say, be real, be righteous, be relevant. It won't steer you wrong.
Awesome, bro. Is anybody surprised that a rapper has got these type of linguistics out there and spitting knowledge? Nobody's surprised by this. So respect to you, Dee-1. I think, listen, guys, thank you guys for being here. I mean, respect. This is probably my favorite podcast we've done. We've learned a lot of stuff. We weren't disagreeing. We weren't fighting. There's podcasts that maybe get more heated and more drama, but that's, I mean, like you said, Sterling, we're going to agree a lot more than we're going to disagree. So respect you guys for being here, and thank you guys for being here. At the end of the day, we do this for you. Okay, we sitting here, we're having a good time. We're here in South Florida. We're going to live our lives, but you guys are watching from all around the country, all the world. You're sitting here saying, damn, okay, these guys just dropped some knowledge. Apply what these very smart men and beautiful women are telling you. We talked about the 80-20 rule. 20% of you are actually going to listen and do something with your life to change your life, to improve. And 80% of you are going to be like, yeah, cool podcast. What's on Netflix? Yep. Okay? Be a part of the minority, not the majority. Okay? This podcast, the whole point is to bring finance and romance together so you can improve in your life, whether that's financially, whether that's sexually, whether that's physically, whether that's emotionally, whether that's, sexually, clearly. But it's all about improvement. So we're here for you. We appreciate you being here. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe so we can keep doing more of this content. We do this for you. We'll see you guys next time. This is Tainment. We out. Peace out.
Yeah.
Peace out.